Garage.
Hey! Yeah, man, this is another episode of UFO Garage.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Joe, and this is where we talk about UFOs, aliens, and
all
baby,
things.
all things weird.
All things weird.
All things weird. Yeah. Gonna be a good evening, man.
Yeah. Are we getting weird tonight or what, dude?
I think we are gonna get weird.
Hell,
I didn't have a time to go and pick up a bottle of wine, so I'm sipping on some brewskis.
Oh.
It's good. It's good stuff.
Hell yeah! I thought you were about to pull up a Dr. Pepper. I was super bummed. So I'm really glad you actually have some beer.
I also have a Dr. Pepper with me at all times.
You have one beer and one Dr. Pepper.
I have two Dr. Peppers, just in case, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like open carry. I keep that thing on me.
Damn, keep that thing on.
That thing on me.
That
thing is Dr. Pepper.
I keep a small packet of mustard and mayonnaise in my wallet.
You never know when you're gonna need some mustard.
Never know when you're gonna need a sandwich.
I never eat mayonnaise if I can help it.
Dude, eggy.
Like sometimes
Smooth.
I'll go to Wendy's and I'll forget to tell them none of that weird mayonnaise shit, and they'll put it on there, and I'll just throw it away.
Oh damn!
Take that, Africa.
What if it was Whataburger though? I bet you wouldn't throw it away. I bet you scrape that shit off.
I don't know. It's weird. It's got a weird taste. I don't believe in it.
I think it cools off my tongue. You know,
it's cool.
It's cool.
I like it, dude.
You ever get like a really spicy sauce on a hamburger, and then you also put mayonnaise on it, and it kind of cools off the spiciness?
Never.
Also, I was thinking about this the other day. What's the difference between a Southwest hamburger and just a regular hamburger?
One's made like in New Mexico.
I don't think Chili's has the budget for that. But like,
yeah, you're right.
Like Chili's, they're like introducing our all new flame broiled Southwest cheeseburger. What's the difference? It's just some sauce.
Well, we have this grill right here where we make regular hamburgers, and we have another grill that's over there, and there's sand all over the floor.
All the cooks have to wear open-toed sandals.
Open-toed sandals. It
Straw
looks
hats.
like a desert in that area. We put a cactus up, so you know it's authentically Southwest. Right?
It's very dangerous to be a cook at a Chili's during Southwest cheeseburger month.
Dude, yes.
That's why they only do it for a month, because they can't afford the insurance for a full year of Southwest cheeseburger making.
It would only make sense. Hey, so dude, tonight's gonna be a good night. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm just over here hitting random buttons on accident.
Do it.
Yeah, dude. Hey, it's gonna be fun. We're just gonna be kind of kicking it, and just shooting the shit, doing a little banter, like we usually do.
Yeah.
Except we have a guest with us, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be good times.
Yeah.
We have a real comedian with us on the show. So if the jokes suck, it's not just our fault this time, right? You guys are used to shitty jokes all the time, but hell yeah.
We gotta set the bar really low, you know.
But not only that though, but he's smart too, right?
And he's smart. He knows some shit.
Yeah, it's like the perfect combo.
Yeah, man.
Heck yeah, man.
Studying to be a theoretical physicist, moved into a career of comedy. Doing great. I mean, he said he was just in Austin a few weeks ago, and said the shows went friggin' well. Man, I looked at his YouTube channel. The YouTube channel, I put the link in the description after the show, or if you want to press pause during the show or whatever. Y'all should check it. It's good shit. It's great shit. I love it, dude. Anyway, but without talking about him too much, walk about Joe Nami.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
How you doing, man?
What's up, dude? Yes.
I'm here.
You did it, dude. You're in the green room.
I'm in the green room.
Hell yeah, dude. Is that is it a paint? Is it paint or is it a
No, this is a fabric. This is a completely circular fabric. Paint. No, I haven't painted in a long time. I haven't painted a wall in a while.
Hell
But
yeah.
this is for using, I made a couple of sketches, put myself on Mars. Did a sketch called Brokeback Mars.
What's Brokeback Mars, dude?
Brokeback Mars is where two astronauts fell in love on Mars. It's a ripoff of Brokeback Mountain.
So
And,
like when they go to like make out, there's helmet in between.
yeah, if they want oxygen, they're gonna have to sacrifice their lives.
Oh my god. I mean, I could see how that could be very, very romantic. Actually, I could see it.
It was a great sketch. Yeah, it was. We're trying to advocate gay rights on other planets, so just getting there slowly.
Hell yeah,
man.
dude.
That's what's up.
Earth shouldn't be the only place that's gay, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to spread it all over the universe, man. I love it.
man.
Alabama Tide. You saying my name or you saying somebody else's name? It says
So many
Joe
Joes.
with a
Oh,
question mark.
I was just realizing like this on UFO Twitter or Twitter just in general on the UFO ufology. There's so many Joes, dude. There's I mean, there's that full Joe. There's UFO Joe. There's what was it like? Is it Jesus Joe something or Jesus UFO Jesus? I think his name's Joe.
I think his name's Joe. Yeah.
There's so many Joes, dude.
Very common name. It doesn't get us that far. It's unassuming.
Doesn't get you that far.
It's funny because it sounds like one of those things where like your mother just pushed you out and didn't have a name yet, and they were like, "What do you want to call it?" And she's like, "Fuck, I don't know, man. Joe. Let's just call it Joe. It's easy. Rolls off the tongue. 3 letters. He might be dumb, so we're gonna keep it short, easy for him. I don't want the kid to fail immediately, you know. Let him get later on down in life and see how things happen. If he crashes and burns, at least he's out of my house by that time. So hey, it's on him."
I'm gonna change my name after my parents die.
What are you gonna change it to?
Yeah.
Probably something of another cultural heritage.
What if it was Johnny Sue?
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. People wanted me to change people were always asking me growing up, like, are you gonna name your kid Sue Nami? Although in 5th grade they called me Nami Salami.
Oh,
damn! So you had a lot of fun.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, kids had a lot of fun with the name. So
Johnny Cash's dad named him Sue.
Yeah, that's right.
did he? I thought that was just a song.
It's just a song.
I had a lot of the name calling in middle school because my name's Ben, and then everybody'd be like, "Oh, Ben Dover, dude. Is your middle name Dover, dude?"
Dude, I would have called you Beanie Weenie.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it. I like that.
High school. Hell yeah.
I love that.
It would always be like, "Hey, Mighty Joe Young," and I'd be like, "That's so uncreative." Well, fuck yourself, right? And then they'd come back a couple weeks later, like, "I didn't think of anything." I'm like, "I know it's really hard. It's really hard. You should just don't."
Just don't.
Yeah,
Just don't do it.
I mean, my last name is Strelsky. So it's like, what are you gonna like? What can you do with that? I should have just been a hockey player.
They'll find anything. These kids. I was just talking with someone the other day. Childhood. It's savage. Am I allowed to swear? It's savage. Because you got all these people that are immature and insecure. So they go after each other. And kids. Even now, I live in New York City. I get roasted the hardest by, kids that live in Harlem or deep in Brooklyn. They just.
So you just like walking down the street and they just roast you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It never ends.
Like, what do you do at that point? You just have to keep walking, right? Like,
Yeah. Even on YouTube, I get advice on how to be a stand-up comedian from 13-year-olds. I'm not even kidding. To the point where I started posting, I noticed that my views would go up sometimes if it was a worse clip. So I just started posting worse and worse stand-up because it riled all these YouTube trolls up. Yeah.
Oh God.
Dude.
Yeah, I have 100,000 views now on YouTube because of these trolls.
That's awesome. Hey,
Great, you know.
views are views, man. You know,
Yes, man. I
you just
love
gotta
it.
not look at the negative comments. You know, that's the one thing. Yeah. Does that bother you?
You know, my life is short, so I enjoy arguing with them.
Yes, dude. Yes.
So when you're
Yeah.
not researching UFOs and abduction cases, getting back at them trolls on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I'm 33. I'm so beyond being picked apart by a 13-year-old, you know.
What time I was standing outside on 6th Street in Austin, I was there on a date with my wife and like 2 other friends. It was it was a very early, it was like 8:30, dude. And there was I was standing outside vaping. I don't smoke cigarettes. I'm standing out there and the bouncer goes in. He's this big dude. And I met him a couple times. We've been at that bar and this group of teenagers walk by and they're like, "Hey, let me get a cigarette." I'm like, "I don't smoke cigarettes, man." And the dude like got in my face. This kid's like 13-year-old. He's 13 years old. And he was like, "Give me a fucking cigarette, dude." And I thought he was going to stab me, honestly. I was like, "Please don't stab me."
Yeah.
I was terrified. There's nothing more terrifying than 5 young 13-year-old dudes. Like, because you can't hit them, right? I mean, that would be bad.
Yeah. I had a group of 13-year-olds come and push me up against the wall and demand fentanyl.
Jesus, dude.
Oh my God. How much fentanyl do you have, sir?
Dude, I think
to
that
me.
they should legally, you know, you're legally an adult at 18. You can legally do some shit at 17, right? Like, you know, but like they should like put a little clause in there that from the age of 13 to 15, you're also legally an adult because a lot of 13-year-olds need the shit slapped out of them, you know?
I agree. What was that medieval device where they would stretch them out?
Yeah, dude. Oh, dude, like a Matilda, throw him in the chokey.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Great movie. Great movie.
Hell yeah.
Dude, so Joe, tell us about yourself, man. I mean, when we were talking over email, I saw the word theoretical physicist, and I was like, boom, you got me. Let's do this because that piqued my interest. And then comedy, I mean, it just like melds 2 of my favorite worlds together, man, and I just love that. So tell us about your journey, man. Like, how did you start out with physics, and how did you get into ufology?
Okay, yeah. So what happened was I was raised in a house that was my father's from the Middle East, and he was really religious, and he kind of forced that a lot on me. And I felt really confused by a lot of inconsistencies in, you know, the Bible and just different like traditional religions. And so I took a semester off of, I was in college. I took a semester off and I got to figure this out, like, because my whole worldview was, just kind of disoriented. And so I kind of got obsessed with like Stephen Hawking and theoretical physics, quantum mechanics, you know, the world in between those two, just to kind of see if there was, I don't know. I was looking for, also trying to like trace back the mythology of humankind, and I just needed to ground myself because I kind of felt disoriented when I started questioning traditional religion. But then how I got into ufology was, to be honest, I kind of laughed at it for years. I didn't take it seriously. In fact, I drove through Roswell once with a friend and just kind of laughed at the sign. You know, oh, Roswell, you know, I wasn't a UFO guy.
Yeah.
But I kind of got into, okay, so one thing about comedy is a lot about absurdity, and the inverse of absurdity is logic. So over the last few years, I started like trying to study more deductive and inductive logic to try to become a better comedian. And as I started getting into this, there's all kinds of confirmation bias, narrative fallacies. My favorite book, one of my favorite books is Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow. Nassim Taleb's The Black Swan, which deals with the problem of induction. And you get into all the logic is one of the four main branches of philosophy. And so I was kind of getting into this. And then I think somewhere in the back of my mind, some of this stuff with the Pentagon and the New York Times, like it was floating around back there, and I didn't have any preconceived notion. I was kind of like, what is it called? Tabula. I kind of like reset my worldview back to neutral, and I was like, this Showtime documentary came out. And I was like, you know what? Let me just check this out. Let me watch this with an open mind. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize there was so much high quality footage of UFOs, because the surface level narrative in society is like, there was a couple of these grainy tic tac looking things, you know, but when you really dig deeper, there's thousands of videos of these things. And so I just kind of went down the rabbit hole, and I have a really addictive personality, really kind of like just obsessive. And I probably spent a couple hundred hours after that. It was off to the races, and I haven't been able to go back. It's to the point where I now use like UFOs and aliens. Like I joke with my friends, I use it to escape my normal human depression, just to like get into that sort of get into that world and just escape, you know, into another reality, let's say.
Ooh.
Yeah, definitely, man. It definitely is. Yeah, I mean, that was one of the funnest things, like, you know, for Ben and I, is like, you could chat about it, you could speculate, you could do all these things, and it really gets the mind turning on, like, what is possibility? You know, what are the actual possibilities of reality that we just don't understand yet? And then you start digging deeper, right? And then, like, in your case, you know, it was like, I saw the Showtime documentary. I didn't realize, holy shit, like, look at all these actually like good video and photos. Also, look at all these documents, and it's getting posted in the New York Times, you know. And then, like, one of the biggest things for Ben and I was, you know, one of the guys that was on the Navy ship, you know, on the Princeton at the time of the Tic Tac thing, he was actually relaying information in real time. Like, his name is Gary Voorhees. He's been on the show. He was on last week. You know, dude's so badass. And it's these stories, once you start meeting these people in person, these stories and like the events that they go through, you know, you go from like, okay, this is a reality, this could possibly be real. And then you talk to somebody who directly, you know, was involved with it, and you're like, okay, this really solidifies things. And then you go down the rabbit hole a little further, and you're like, wait a second, you were driving in your car and something flew over, you know, like you get into like the Cash Landrum case and stuff like that. You know, you've read about those cases. I mean, there's so much physical evidence and things that are happening, and then lawsuits taking place against the military and this and that. I mean, there's so much, is a lot. And it seems like it would be a lot more effort to just deny it or like try and cover it than it would be to actually just look into it, you know? And so like from a regular person's perspective, you're like, there's a lot more to this than we're all being told, you know. Definitely is.
Totally. I mean, there's I think that disclosure is inevitable. I don't think humans are very good at keeping secrets indefinitely, you know, and information has kind of been trickling out slowly, you know, but the government's afraid of looking like they're not going to be in control. You know?
Yeah, I would definitely say that the biggest thing about a lot of the disclosure stuff that's coming out is the fact that they're saying the fact that they're saying something is big enough. What they're saying, I feel like they're full of shit, you know? Like they
Yeah.
may have some stuff and they're probably like dangling the carrot in front of the mule type thing.
Yeah.
But you know, I feel like a lot of it, like they're probably full of shit and they're just lying to you. But the good thing is they're talking about it, right? So that
Right.
opens the door for people to like go dig under those walls of secrecy and try and figure out what the meat is behind all of this, because what they're saying is probably just a big, you know, facade, just smoke and mirrors.
Right. You know.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think we got disclosure back in June when that that report came out. You know, like that's disclosure, dude. Like they're just not saying it how you want to hear it. Like
Which
that was
report?
disclosure. The big UAP report that the Congress released. It was a big deal back in June.
That was July.
Was it July? Okay,
July 16th.
July 16th. Yeah, we had an episode right after it came out, and we like read some of it, and we were like, we had this, you know, this revelation that like, look, dude, this is the what we've been looking for. It's just not in the form that we wanted. We want them to say, yeah, you guys were right. Like, there's aliens, but
Right.
okay, just because they didn't say it how you wanted to hear it, they did say it. They did say that there's some shit that we don't know about. And that's all that we're at this time that we're able to say, you know.
We were like, hey, government, is there UFOs? And they were like, there are things in our airspace that are what we like to call low observability.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, so fucking UFOs? Is that what you mean? Well, what we're saying is, you're like, okay.
You ever talk to somebody that you know what the truth is, but you just want to ask them so they'll say it, and then you're like, hey, so is your house yellow? And they go, I am not allowed to say it this time. That fucking guy's house is yellow, dude. He took the pause. The pause is long, man.
How we can get them to really come forth with this is if we figure out a way for them to commercialize and integrate it into capitalism. You know what I mean? Like, and not just to the private sector, but like to, you know, if they can extract our dollars, you know, the way that they like to control us everyday citizens and, you know, get our money. Like if enough money gets behind this, you know, if enough of these companies see dollar signs with you know, with like full commercialization, oh, they will open the floodgates. The government will open their legs so fast.
Well, I think we kind of already saw that with TTSA, maybe.
Kind of a little bit, yeah,
A little bit.
yeah. TTSA a little bit. They really tried to bring in the capitalist momentum of like, hey, we're gonna release information through comics and movies and books and merchandise and stuff like that. I guess it kind of fell apart. I don't know. I don't hear too much about. I hear more and more about TTFA than we do about TTSA.
A lot more about TTSA.
Sure. Yeah, and you know the thing is with that too is that like you know our government has been talking about, you know, I've said this a lot recently, but like our government, you know, back in the day in that Project Horizons, dude, they wanted to launch 62 rockets by 1960. So they've already been talking about this shit in the 50s. I mean, like, who's to say that like they haven't used some of the technology for capitalism? You look at the cell phone. I mean, you hear all the stories about fiber optics and Velcro and Kevlar, and you know what I'm saying? That military grade aluminum Ford truck they got up there. So
I heard that they drive straight through tornado, man.
No, it's a Chevy.
Oh shit.
You know, I don't know. It's interesting to me. I like from capitalist perspective, I think that there's more validity to UFOs than there is to cryptocurrency.
Ooh, love
like
that.
In the sense that crypto's perceived value, but at least UFOs, they're, you know, so I mean, if they could get people to invest money into theoretical UFO companies or, you know, extraterrestrial biological currencies, you know.
Bro, I love that. I think you got something there, bro. I love that.
Who needs Dogecoin with Shiba Inus when you've got biological entities, you know?
I mean, you take the psychological construct of money itself and currency. Like, when has it actually had a physical value, Joe? Like, I mean, like
it's all
with the gold standard, like it's
right. Gold standard. You know, you can go on the internet right now and you can buy a certificate that says you own a star. You know?
Yeah. Dude, 1,000.
Why can't I short the star market?
Yeah.
You know? You want to be long on stars? I'll be short on stars. Let's go.
Well, I went to get my granddaughter a star certificate, and I had to pay my entire life savings.
Wouldn't that be some shit? Like some mega corporation takes that over, and they're like, "All right, we need to conserve stars. Okay, like it's a commodity, and we control the flow of star chart." It's like, dude, like they're like, we just need to make sure that there's enough stars to go around for every human being on the planet.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. You're full of shit, aren't you?
The I Believe podcast said I bought a girl a star in high school. LOL, it didn't work. That's
what awesome. Didn't work? You didn't get with her, or the star didn't? Because the star's definitely fusing hydrogen.
Yeah, we need details, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Wouldn't that suck if like you bought a star that died a long ass time ago, and then you give the certificate to the girl, and the next day you go out there, the light actually just dimmed out because it had like reached its like billion year. Like, God damn it!
There's some dwarf star.
It's supply and demand right there, dude. Hey, that's capitalism, baby.
Yes, dude. Bim Jim wants to know which is the stronger theory, quantum or general relativity?
The way I describe it, I don't think one is necessarily stronger than the other. They're both. I don't think there is an objective truth or theory that can describe the whole universe, but I think of them each as different lenses that you would put on a camera, and I
like that.
The quantum lens is the only way to describe some of the randomness, the uncertainty principle, the Heisenberg principle that we see in the quantum field. But in terms of like general relativity, none of that is governed the same. And you really need it gets back to Newtonian physics and general relativity and special relativity. So I know they're looking for string theory and they're looking for one theory to describe everything, but the universe is just full of paradox. You know what I mean? The deepest truths in life are paradox. We're all meaningful. You matter to your friends and family, and you zoom out far enough, and we're an insignificant speck of, atomic dust.
Yeah. It's crazy to think, like all these different theories come out, general relativity, and then years later we start getting into this quantum realm, and like it's a new style of physics, and like you were saying, people work on string theory and this and that, and it always makes me think like, okay, now that we like are to this point, like what's the next level of physics that we don't even know yet that's gonna pop out, within the next 100 years?
And I think there will be something, but so there's two there's a logician and mathematician, Gödel. I don't know if you've heard of Gödel or Gödel's proof, but
I don't think so.
Gödel's proof, basically, math is a description of reality. And the Bertrand Russell and his partner wrote Principia Mathematica, and they wanted to formalize a description. Basically, if you take a base foundation, an axiomatic system of just a few base truths, self-evident truths, then you can extrapolate every mathematical theorem out. But what Gödel's proof found was that there were limitations to how far we can describe reality with numbers. And I think this is true of whether it's language or whether it's math or whether it's a new form of quantum physics or a straight, they're all just, human symbols to getting more and more complexity in our description of reality. But I think there will always be a slight dissonance.
I think there's a lot of points to be kind of connected there, dots to be connected, because you mentioned mathematical equations. I think of geometry when I first took like an advanced geometry class in college. I realized, all of these equations rely on a bunch of other equations that I didn't learn or didn't remember. So same goes with language. Like you can have that base understanding of Spanish or Chinese or English or whatever, but there's different dialects and there's different slangs and there's different terms and there's different like generational terms where like words mean something 10 years ago that mean something completely different now. So I think your point of, is there one theory to explain it all? And you say no, I'm totally on board with that. I think it builds and it evolves as time in this dimension that we're experiencing. It just changes. It's like so hard to grasp in our limited lifespan,
I know. The universe is overwhelming.
Yeah. We just don't have enough time to understand it.
Who knows, though? Maybe with Elon Musk's Neuralink, maybe we can figure it out. But I'm trying to get I'm trying to get the Alcubierre warp drive to his attention because I think he's wasting time with rockets.
Oh my God! Say more about that. What is Alcubierre warp drive?
So the Alcubierre warp drive is, I believe it was a paper written in 1996. I forget his first name, but it's basically, so there are limitations in physics with anything that has mass, like you or me or all three of us. If we got into a bear hug and got into a ship, we have mass.
Yeah.
We'll never be able to accelerate to the speed of light because we have mass. It would require anything that has mass will require a near infinite amount of energy to accelerate that fast. So the speed of light is kind of like the speed limit of the universe. But there's an inverse to it that I think could be a way around. And the analogy that I like is, it's like, imagine if you're at like one of those long dinner tables from like the 1800s. You know how people used to eat all the way across from each other, and somebody else has a bowl of soup on their end. You pull the tablecloth to you. So the Alcubierre warp drive is about manipulating space instead of accelerating mass. So what it does is it pinches, it expands the front of the warp drive and compresses the back. So it basically pinches the space, and it allows us to move the space, the empty space, faster than light.
Is that how the Futurama ship is driven? Do you know? Did you watch that show, Futurama?
I have seen Futurama.
What the ship does?
I think the ship runs on coal.
No, it runs on Nibbler's shit. Nibbler, it's like this little alien I actually named my pug after. But like it's
it runs on his literal shit or figurative?
Because the little pug looking alien, it shits antimatter little balls that are like fuel. Isn't that dope? But so the way they describe it in the cartoon is that it actually, the ship doesn't move; it moves space around it.
They did their research,
dude.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's awesome.
What was the other end? Alcubierre drive.
Oh, okay. I've seen this. I've seen this diagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where, but it looks
the
like
other problem with the space travel is the amount of fuel that we would need. So even if we did the Alcubierre drive, we would need a massive amount of nuclear fuel. I think uranium or plutonium. So it would be a lot of mass to carry on a ship. So I think the end game, the most plentiful resource in the universe to drive a ship on is hydrogen. I believe, because you could just suck hydrogen, or
Yeah.
the empty space is not really empty. It's got matter and antimatter particles. So if you could convert those too,
We were just talking about that, Joe. Joe, you were talking about like.
Yeah, I was talking about like if space is a vacuum, like
Yeah.
what's vacuuming it? But then the answer was, oh, it's a vacuum because there's mass in space, which is what creates a vacuum. So then I guess my next question would be, if there was no mass in space, would space cease to exist because there's no mass to it?
So there's something called the Higgs boson particle, which they call the God particle.
The God particle, yeah.
Which God, I don't know, but
somebody.
The green room God.
The Higgs boson basically imbues every particle in the universe with mass, and they discovered it recently. Well, they're always ahead with the math. They can predict stuff 70 years in advance with the math, but then getting the experiment to sort of inductively validate it. So the Higgs boson was an important piece because it kind of proved that the Higgs boson energy field exists, which inversely then also there's dark matter. I think 75% of the universe is this shit that we don't really know what it is, called dark matter, dark energy. So that's fun.
Somebody needs to make a movie about that.
So Peppa H had a great question. Tammy, thank you for highlighting that or commenting that. Appreciate you. So great question, Peppa. So how does light get to light speed?
I believe it has to do with photons and the way that photon particles react. Light speed is about 299,000 kilometers per second, which is really fast. I mean, yeah, and our galaxy is about 100,000 light years wide. So, and even in our galaxy alone, they're predicting that there's potentially 100 civilizations, just statistically. If you even conservatively plug into the Drake equation, very conservative numbers, in our galaxy alone, there's theoretically 100 to 160 civilizations. So,
yeah. So there's like this energy that surrounds light that allows it to move at the speed that it moves at. So is there anything that moves faster, or does nothing move faster? Now we're actually manipulating the way space works, like the drive that we were just talking about. Like, is light just the fastest thing, and then after light we just got to figure out some way to move ourselves across the universe?
Theoretically, the speed of light is supposed to be the speed limit, but then there's something called, I believe it's either quantum tunneling or the whole wormhole. But basically, if you think of, so general relativity connects space and time together. So the way that my favorite analogy is, like, think of it like a blanket. You have a comforter on your bed, you throw a bowling ball on the middle of your bed, that's going to warp space and time. If you throw a bunch of marbles, they're all going to roll towards the big bowling ball because that space-time is warped. Well, so what you can do with a wormhole, and the math checks out, we just haven't pushed anyone through a wormhole yet. I can think of a few people that probably deserve to be pushed through it.
Me too.
But if you take that if you take that blanket that represents space-time and you twist it or you punch a hole through it, you could get from one side of the blanket theoretically to the other just by manipulating the space and time, into sort of a pseudo singularity in which the space-time curvature is near infinite, almost like an asymptote. But so it is possible. I believe Stephen Hawking advanced a lot of the mathematics around singularities, black hole radiation, and wormholes. So, the math, I don't know. The math,
That's pretty cool.
I think you know what I like to think about is that like theoretical physics and theoretical math, it doesn't rely on sensors or things that we can observe and calculate with any of our senses other than our imagination, right? Like, can you say that? Like, I've always thought like, is math just in our heads and then like turns out to be just true? Like we can, it's like you said earlier, it's us describing the universe, right? But just because we can't perceive something that can travel faster than light doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So therefore, for us to like understand it and observe it, we can't sense it with anything. So we have to think about it and like try to like.
So I try to partition this sometimes into physical reality and social reality. And certain things are definitely social constructs, like the land that we're on is whatever, but in social reality, it's America. Like America doesn't really exist except in all of our minds,
right?
But a lot of people that are more intelligent than me have surmised that math is discovered, not created. There are certain principles in the universe, in physics, that are innate to the sort of signature of the universe: mass, energy, the speed of light, gravity, the way that all these things interact. There are certain things that are mathematically innate to the universe. So I personally subscribe to a lot of math is discovered, not created. But
love that. Ooh, love that.
Is it possible that portals they claim pop up on Skinwalker Ranch are wormholes or something else? I've had a lot of theories about this because there's four major forces in the universe. There's the weak and strong nuclear forces, electromagnetic, and then gravity. And what's interesting is that had the beginning of our universe been had there been a tiny amount of asymmetry, had it just slightly differently expanded, we would have completely different laws of physics. And there are potentially other universes where gravity is minuscule and electromagnetism rules everything, but I think one thing that's interesting about Skinwalker Ranch, as well as where the Nimitz encounter happened, is those seem to be places with highly anomalous electromagnetic kind of like sectors, you know what I mean? Like they're like
ley lines. Intersections of like Earth's magnetic forces with like electromagnetic. Yeah, dude. I love that stuff.
So, and quantum mechanics, also known as quantum physics, Einstein did a lot of math on that actually in the early days. And the math does predict, when you extrapolate it out, it does predict for about 11 different dimensions besides our 3 or 4 own dimensions.
Is that where we get that from? Like, there's like 17, 11 different. I always wondered where that came from. Like,
I mean, it comes from quantum physics. I mean, I haven't seen the dimension yet, but not everything that can be seen exists, but that does seem to be a big theory in the UFO community, though, is that like these people or these entities are just popping over from different, like almost like a different radio frequency.
Yeah. Yes.
Something very strange is going on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Ben and I always talked about like, okay, so if these dudes are like fourth, fifth dimensional beings, right? I mean, that's kind of what it is. And then higher, you get into like these light beings or these, these God source beings. But like, we're still dealing with like these fourth and fifth dimensional beings. If they come down here into our third dimension, like, what happens if you fuck up and you go to like the second dimension, or like
Roblox characters?
What's the first dimension? Like that's always wild to me. But then have you seen that movie Soul?
Yeah.
So
great movie.
The little helpers of the creator guy, the little lines, they're just a singular line. The idea that a being could just be this one little line and blend in with everybody else's reality because it's just a line that can shape itself into whatever it wants to as like a two-dimensional or a one-dimensional thing is pretty interesting. That it could be way more advanced than we are, even though we think we're smart,
Right.
It's crazy. Sorry, go ahead.
If they have the technology to, go to warp speed, move through dimensions, who's to say they can't, replicate our appearance? I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, so I was thinking when we were talking about the whole like gravity and light and the way it moves and stuff, like orbits at some point, planets move a little faster because they get close to, mass and then that's what makes the orbit. So it goes slower a little bit as it goes further out and it starts to speed up as it gets closer. The speed of light, is it a constant, or does gravity affect it in the same way it would affect other mass, like with gravitational pull? So when light gets really close to something with a lot of mass and a lot of gravity, would it affect it to theoretically, I guess, speed light up?
I believe the speed of light is constant, but it can bend around large masses. So you do notice the speed of light bending. And I think during a solar eclipse, that's actually when they were able to prove special relativity. Was during a solar eclipse. They were able to basically Einstein's predictions about where the light would be and how it would bend all kind of worked out. I mean, I started studying theoretical physics like 10 years ago, and then I was basically I haven't still like kept up with all of it. I've been doing comedy the last, I don't know, 5-6 years. And, but I fell out of theoretical physics because I was like,
it was hard.
It was hard.
It was hard.
You're gonna be smart.
And then sometimes theoretical physics go their whole career without making a discovery. And I'm like, I don't want to spend the next 50 years of my life trying to find something. I don't know. I kind of got like, I responded with an ounce of nihilism. And then I was like, you know what? I'll just go screw around. I'll just go do comedy. That's my response to.
I mean, you're doing like anybody that quits their job to like, or their future to do comedy. I feel like you're doing really well because you're actually really good. So like,
comedy is one of the hardest things to do. You know what I'm saying? And so like, I guess if you dipped your toe in theoretical physics first, you're like, it's not that bad. Right. So what? They didn't laugh. No biggie. At least I didn't go my whole life without figuring some shit out. I mean, you don't need a degree to theoretically think of shit all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Also,
I think theoretical physics is easier because Einstein didn't have to check his equations with an audience.
Yes, dude. Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
That's so true.
I go up. I'm like, this joke works. I checked it out with a couple comedians. I know this is funny. I go up, and the audience is like, no, we don't.
Dude,
Imagine if Einstein had to throw out E equals MC squared because the audience didn't like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it could have been so related to like the night or like what's going on, or like maybe there was like an asshole bouncer. There's so many factors that would go into that. I love that. Like, anyway, so I had this thought, dude, like while you're talking about like this transition from making the choice to move from the theoretical physics into comedy, I feel like there's a lot of parallels there, because I feel like at the heart of your core, I'm just like this is what I do. I just like analyze shit, but like you're good at, like, you want to ask questions and you want to get to the root of stuff and understand things to like their fullest, and to be a theoretical physicist, that's your job. And just to try to, like you said, just describe the universe. And also as a comedian, you're describing the human condition, because once you do that, you look back and you're like, oh shit, this is hilarious what we're doing right now. Like, everything's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know,
You know what? Actually, this is a good point. This brings up something that's been on my mind lately. Is I talk to people. I'm like, how are people not? I talk to other UFO friends, and I'm like, how are people not like freaking out every day? There's so much evidence out there. There's so much this, but it gets buried under the Kardashians, Pete Davidson, Kanye,
oh my God.
Ted Cruz, like Ukraine, Russia, Putin. Like, we're just getting, like, it's all, we have just a limited surface consciousness, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like, have you ever thought about this? I think we're living in a simulated universe, but the main character is Pete Davidson. He's the main character, and we're all just secondary, and we exist so that he lives his life. Like, that's because why? Well, like, why is he? What? I mean, he's funny.
They've injected capitalism into it, and it's because you care. That's why.
I don't get it. He's funny as fuck. He's really funny, but I just don't get it. He's everywhere, dude. He's dating Kim Kardashian.
It's a power law distribution.
Dude.
Oh,
So
man.
we're all living
Dude,
in his brain right now.
You think about the fact that, we were talking about how the government, the Pentagon, finally dropped these files July 16th. How coincidental you would drop that shit in the middle of a pandemic, right? At the height of it. You're like, okay.
COVID.
Yeah.
Like, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, dude, that shit.
Dr. Fauci, that guy is an alien. I know it. Look at him.
I was cracking up so hard. You were like, I've heard he doesn't eat pussy with a mask on. That shit cracked me up.
Bro, I don't want to play the video because I know it's probably awkward to watch yourself do that, but like, bro, that bit is so good about Dr. We watched it right before you hopped in, dude. It's so good. And a lot of it's true, right? Like, was he literally in Wuhan? Like, was he like
Dr. Fauci, I don't know if he was in Wuhan. I just said it. But definitely they were experimenting with mutated viruses in the Wuhan virology lab. It didn't come from the wet market. The wet markets have been around for hundreds of years.
Okay. Yeah.
Whatever. I'm not upset with that. Shit happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've mistreated China, and now, whatever.
Dude, that shit was so funny. It had me cracking up, man.
The end with the basketball team.
Oh yeah,
the Wuhan, the biting bats.
Biting bats. Team to drum up some tourism.
Yes.
Oh my god.
God damn, that was so funny. So, dude, like being a little bit like I guess new to the idea and acceptance of this stuff happening. You spent hours sifting through a whole bunch of shit, and it's like some of it's really hard to discern sometimes. It's like, this seems legit, but I don't know. But then you hear something else and you're like, that's way more crazy, but I believe that, on a way higher level. What's been one of your favorite things that you've come across so far?
Favorite things what do you? Can you be more specific?
UFO related, like just looking into the UFO world, cases, events, anything like that. Like, what's kind of been one of your favorites?
Well, one thing that I try to do is there's this term called I try to triangulate the evidence, which is, I think it's originally a military term, but it's like if you can kind of almost like a billiard table, you cover the evidence from a couple different angles, and if you keep hearing stuff, sometimes there's truth to it. But one of my favorite things probably is some of the details in the Rendlesham case. Do you know about I think his name's Jim Pennington or something?
Peniston,
yeah. So he went out, for your viewers, he went out with, I think, Colonel Halt, and they went out to investigate this in Rendlesham, U.S. military base. I think it has nuclear weapons, but he put his hand on it was like a surveyor UFO, and then he got a flash of binary code. Yeah. This is in 1980.
Yeah, dude.
What? And then he starts having these memories, and he can see visually the binary code. And he writes it down in a journal, puts it away in a drawer, pulls it out a few years later, and takes it to, I think, like a computer guy, and they decode the binary. And it's like year 8,000, exploration of humanity. They are the eyes of our eyes. And then it has a bunch of lats and longitudes of like significant historical
ley lines.
Yep.
What'd you say?
They depict specific nodes of ley lines all around the world. Those were some of those coordinates were.
Yeah.
And the binary.
Wait, what's a ley line?
So ley lines are cross points. They're lines of energy that follow the Earth's geomagnetic core. So like you can, with sensitive enough sensors or equipment, you can pick up when the Earth's magnetic energy is stronger, and you can actually follow that line to certain things in certain places around the world. And the crazy thing is, a lot of the nodes, which that means like a lot of different ley lines, they're like crazy, right? But they're all in straight lines. So when they intersect, that's called like a node. And a lot of those nodes are places like Stonehenge,
Machu Picchu.
Yep.
The pyramids.
Great Pyramids of Giza.
Sedona, Arizona.
Yep.
That's a lot of activity there. Yeah.
Aside from all the seniors retiring there.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's one in Miami, Florida. Palm Beach.
Yeah. How funny would that be if the UFOs just start landing in all the retirement communities?
They would get so mad. Everybody would be calling their HOA.
No, they can't look up, dude. They're like, they can't see it.
You're not wrong. So a couple of years ago, I auditioned at the comic strip live in Manhattan, and the guy that saw Eddie Murphy pass through the club was still the booker. He was still the guy. So 1980, this is 30 years later, he could not lift his head to look up to watch me.
So he's an OG. He's been there for a while.
Yeah, exactly. So
he survives on Cubanos.
Yeah.
And live comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy club door guys, man. They got a hell of a retirement plan, you know?
I know.
Yeah, dude.
I had a great set. I had a great set. I have the tape to prove it. And then I get to the bar and I talk to him and he's like, yeah, I didn't really see anything funny. I was like,
that's fucked up.
Yeah. But
what did you say? Did you just walk away, or did you say like, yeah, me either? And you just
I was just in shock. I was like, really, man? All right, sounds good. But this is
All right, I'll
kind
take
of
my $20 back.
yeah. But thankfully, over the pandemic, he passed away. So now I have
Now it's sad.
yeah. No, that one was a little sad.
Thankfully, he passed away.
We all move through the circle of life.
Yes.
What is it? There's a great joke that's like, death is one of the best thing that's happened to humanity. Otherwise, like, we'd still have guys around from the 1100s. You know what I mean? Can you imagine if Pontius Pilate was still around? You know what I mean?
Oh God, dude.
Yeah. So it's like,
I've never thought about that.
yeah.
Have you seen the show Upload? It's on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. It's from Clownfist.
No, I don't think I've seen Upload.
So Upload is a really great. I love the show. Not sponsored.
Check it out. Yeah.
But the concept is really cool. I'll get to the chase. But anyway, so that you upload your consciousness into a digital atmosphere, and it's like super realistic. So like people can essentially live forever. So there's like a bunch of old people that look young because they uploaded, and they're like saying a bunch of racist shit. Like they're just terrible people. Like, yeah, we don't want those people around, right? Like that would be bad for a lot of reasons.
Like if Abraham Lincoln was still around, people are like, oh my God, wow, he freed the slaves, but he hates gay people. Like, how progressive are they going to be?
Yeah. It's not a good idea. I don't think. Yeah,
it's
that's
not good.
Yeah,
Abraham Lincoln wouldn't free non-binary people.
All right.
He's not.
I tell you what, we're gonna trade blacks for gays. Let's do that. We have a trade off.
I don't think that has the same ring to it as the speech.
77 days, years, months, nights, days. Fuck it. I don't know.
Yonders.
Nobody talks like that anymore.
Yonders ago.
Oh shit. Hey, Dan's in the chat. What's up, Dan? How you doing, man?
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we have to.
He said, but Tupac would still be around, so net positive.
Net positive. Yes.
That's true. If only we could pick and choose.
Dude, yes. But yeah, man, that the Rendlesham case is pretty interesting, dude. Yeah, it's a very interesting. It's really crazy too to see like watch it divide a crowd, when somebody brings it up, like like at a conference or something, half the people will be like, that's bullshit, right? Because then the other dudes that were with him, they were like, nah, that didn't happen. And then the two guys that are like in the book and like writing the stuff, they're like, yeah, I touched this thing. And then the rest of the people that like were there, and it's one of those things where like, okay, are the other people that were around and witnessed it, were they like threatened with their lives to like, yeah, you better say that never happened or else we're coming after you, because it was too late for the original guys. And then how are you going to like stop a guy who got downloaded with binary code in his mind within a matter of seconds to be quiet?
Now we work at the Geek Squad in Best Buy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Can you take a look at this piece of paper here, man?
And they couldn't
I don't
get
paid
like
enough for this.
the kicker for me on that story was like they couldn't get the like their VA stuff paid for. Like
McCain's aide had to get them the
John McCain. Yeah, dude.
Shit. What?
Yeah, so he suffered a lot of like illnesses afterwards, and he would go like to the VA and stuff, and they would never cover it. And so, he was like, but I was in the military. This happened while I was in the military. I should be receiving, my VA benefits and this and that. And they would always deny him. So he wrote a couple letters, and John McCain actually said, like, I'm not direct quoting him, but he basically said, I know exactly what you're going through. Let me give you a hand. So the aide actually sent out the paperwork, and then John McCain sent in his own letter saying, hey, you need to give him the aid, not going any further with anybody else, but basically told the guy that it happened to, like, I know exactly what you're going through.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Nobody knows, right?
That's awesome.
You think John McCain's terminal disease was UFO caused?
Dude, it could have been.
Bro.
It could have been. I mean, there's a lot of weird
It was
shit.
very, very sudden, it seemed. Dude, what's crazy is that, like, yeah, never mind. Anyway, that was going to be a long story.
A lot of people actually that come into contact or within the vicinity of UFOs do experience radiation, which, if these UFOs, which makes me think that the UFOs are powered by some type of nuclear fission, where they're restructuring the nucleus of atoms. The other thing I'm thinking that you made me think of, Ben, is these electromagnetic cores seem to be a hotspot. Since electromagnetism and the nuclear forces are three of the major four forces in physics, makes me think that they figured out a way to tap in and maybe even recharge the UFOs through electromagnetism.
Dude.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of people that there's one person that we have yet to have on the podcast. We need to have her on the podcast. So the idea is that is true. That is completely true. Like some of the craft, at least some of them, not all of them, because some of them probably ours. Some are probably other species that don't even need that shit. They're way above that, But there are specific craft that use these ley lines as kind of like a rail station or a trolley station. So you need
like an Amtrak.
And thank you. Yes,
but
Amtrak.
A little more, timely.
Yeah. So like if you saw a roller coaster and the 1700s, you'd be like, my God, it's a dragon, But they need a track to go on. But like that's kind of there's something to that for sure.
I don't have a problem with them traveling through our, tracks and electromagnetic things, but if they're going to be in our airspace, they need to be paying taxes.
That's right.
Hell yeah, they should be.
Even though I think taxation is theft, they need to pay it if I got to pay it, right?
Yeah. Come on, just a little palladium, terranium. Come on, we want your alien metals.
Right, dude? Yeah, like even the hydrogen thing, right? There's like multiple accounts of craft coming down to water and dropping a tube and seemingly sucking water up. Yeah, that's pretty nuts. I mean,
I was going to say, Joe, real quick with the tubes. When we had Michael Schratt on last year, we looked at a lot of these cases. Michael Schratt, Nami, if you didn't, so he's an author of a book that he took a lot of the most famous cases and some of the most interesting ones to him personally, and had a lot of those cases illustrated. And I believe Alien Girl 111 just had him on, and that was an awesome show. But so there. These illustrations often show these craft with little tubules, or like sometimes they're like straight pipes and sometimes they're like little dangly doodlies. Yeah. Joe, I mean, I just made that connection. Maybe that's what it is. Is like, oh, they're just
could be, or like how like a bumper car has that stick that touches the electric on the top.
Oh my God.
Could be the same thing. Maybe they have this stick and they're on these ley lines, and they're using that for, to generate the energy that they need. It's like a bumper car would,
It's interesting, too, that we're on this topic because the majority of the Earth's core has not been explored at all by us. Even, I think, the depths of the oceans, we've explored more of the immediate outer space and the moon than we have our own oceans because... Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, you would think, especially these USOs that are coming out of the oceans constantly.
Yeah. Over half.
Yeah.
Over half of all the cases come from the water.
Yeah, USOs, man. USOs.
And we talk about the least amount that are coming from the sky, but most of these cases, over half, are coming from the water.
Wow. I mean, you look at the people that have figured out that you can run a car off of a hydrogen electrolysis. I mean, the electrolysis of separating a water molecule Yeah.
Get back to me when you can run a car off your own urine.
Oh, dude, I drink too much wine for that.
Dude, you never run out of fuel.
Yeah, so I feel like water has something to do with it, man. I'm telling you, we're telling each other that. Mr. Crowley, thank you for the super chat, bro. You got a question? He says, "What's Nami's take on aliens? Have they always been here? And maybe we're a split species. What's your take on that, bro?"
Well, okay, so there's a couple of things to take into account here. Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. The universe, I think, is 13.8 billion years old. And as soon as life on Earth could begin, it pretty much did. It's really, I hate to say it, but life is not that fancy. It's kind of like the early universe was basically highly acidic ocean waters mixed with a lot of volcanic activity. So when you get a high level of acidity and alkalinity together, it creates a charge, which then creates molecules. The jump is when you have self-replicating molecules. But the thing is, I'm not arrogant enough to think that we are alone in the universe. And I think that if you look at the timeline between when the universe started and then when we showed up, there's a big gap of time. I think that they've been around a lot. I mean, it's the most plausible scenario. What is it? The most plausible scenario is that they've probably been around a lot longer than we have. And, there's so many different accounts, too, of extraterrestrial species. Some of them, as you know, look like the typical gray. Some of them look more like praying mantis. I mean, it's like, why wouldn't we see the whole spectrum of different traits and evolution?
Like octopus or
yeah, you know what I mean? Because the way that evolution works is that there's a lot of chance and randomness into the unfolding. It's not complete determinism, which would mean like if you rewind Earth back to zero and hit play and start evolution over again, we might not look the same. It might be, I don't know, it might be insects that grow to be 6 feet.
Yeah.
And
back to your point about physics itself. If our universe was twisted and folded, or even our galaxy, right? Like our physics would be slightly different.
Yeah.
So light speed would be different based on the mass of our. I don't know if it's down to the universal level or the galaxy level. I don't know where it starts and begins, but I think that's.
I think it's in the first few seconds of the universe with the singularity, because when you get down to that small, to a singularity, you're dealing with quantum mechanics, and specifically the uncertainty principle, which the uncertainty principle is basically that if you can track particles' movement or acceleration, you cannot with pure certainty track its both its acceleration and its position at the same time.
Yeah.
So there is an amount of that chips away at complete determinism. And
I was going to say, man, just kind of, I don't know if this is super random, but I feel like there's a connection here. But I recently learned, I've been really into like electricity and I've been soldering some shit and been doing some like LED signs lately. And I just wanted to get back to the basics of like, how does electricity work? I just love that shit. Every couple of years, I get super into it. My wife hates it. I get like super like dark rabbit hole. But like, I feel like it's like math. It almost every year it changes. Like, I'm interested in this aspect or whatever. So what I recently found out, and I'm sorry, I wish I could like
You're fine.
give credit to the video that I watched, but this person explained electrons and how they move is because electrons don't like each other. It's not like when you think of a circuit, it's not that electrons flow. It's that it's like a pinball machine. So one ball hits the next, and that one hits the next, and that one hits the next. So it's when we talk about like this the speed of light and the laws and that timing, those couple seconds as you were talking about in the creation of the universe. Those are the times that it decides, okay, how much do these electrons not like each other? That's kind of how.
Yes.
So like how fast do they want to move away? Like get away, you know?
Yeah. We're very lucky because the slightest amount of asymmetry at the beginning of the universe, normally matter and antimatter cancels each other out, but the slightest amount of asymmetry left us with matter. But I don't know, because it's like we're in a solar system, and then we're in a galaxy, then we're in a cluster of galaxies, then a universe. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we were in a multiverse.
So this idea of asymmetry versus symmetry, which, dude, I've been super into this idea. If I'm talking too much, let me know, dude. But if everything was symmetrical, nothing would exist. Because there's asymmetry means that there is a flow. There's a flow of energy. There's a negative and a positive. Yeah. It does complete itself, but energy is like the first law of thermodynamics, that neither is energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's just redistributed, right? So like there has to be that asymmetry in the universe. I love that.
Absolutely. I love that law, the conservation of matter and energy, because I think what excited me about that was that, maybe the universe just keeps like, expanding and collapsing, and maybe the energy is conserved. But I think I can't remember if it's the second law of thermodynamics, but entropy is another one. Where, disorder, heat dissipates. Comedy is all about entropy. You got like, for example, over the pandemic, a lot of us were doing outdoor shows like in the park, and they're horrendous, and it's like, if you want to get people to laugh, you got to pack them into, a room with a low ceiling. Thermodynamics is very crucial to comedy.
That's awesome, dude. I like it. It's all bright out here. It's fucking hot.
There's all kinds of like birds everywhere just screaming.
And you need to warm up the crowd. You need to that's why comedians do crowd work and stuff. It's like there are a lot of parallels between physics and comedy.
Dude, I love it. I love it so much. I'm looking up the laws of thermodynamics because I'm like, first, second, third, I don't know.
Well, this is the perfect time for that, dude.
Hell yeah. The first one is, we were right. Yeah. So the second law of thermodynamics is spontaneous process. The entropy. Boom. You win, dude. The entropy of the universe increases. The third law of thermodynamics, it just says dash. A perfect crystal at 0 Kelvin has 0 entropy.
Oh, you know
what does that mean?
Well, Kelvin is a representation of temperature that is related, I think, to absolute zero. But actually, that reminds me of a topic that I wanted to discuss. So our sun, I think, is like, I forgot. I think it's like 7,000 kelvins. Our sun.
Sun's cold, dude. The sun is cold.
Yeah,
it's in space.
The sun's either 4,000 or 7,000 kelvins. But so in the famous Betty and Barney Hill case, through she was able to draw a map through hypnosis and regression
Yeah.
And then someone in Chicago, I think an undergraduate or a PhD student, put together a model and was able to figure out that it was Zeta Reticuli. And that one is, interestingly enough, Zeta Reticuli is like 39 light years away, but it's in a twin star system. And both of those stars, I believe, are about comparable kelvins to our sun, so I don't know. It's really interesting to me that every grain of sand on Earth is analogous. It's symbolic of a star in the universe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all you got to do is get a bunch of dust and gravity combining near one of those, billions of stars. And you have a potential, if it's in the right kelvins, you have a potential for life,
Yeah. And that was crazy too, because it wasn't the map drawn from the perspective of Zeta Reticuli looking towards Earth. And that's why the model was so important, because they were able to shift it and move it around and say, holy shit, that's correct.
So cool.
Yeah. And they didn't even know that it had existed yet. Like, nobody had ever done that.
Sorry.
The amount of what are the odds of that, right?
I think it lines up. I mean, it's one of the closest habitable star systems, and I mean, if they possess this technology, if they have an extra, billion years of existence on us, maybe they're not super geniuses. Maybe they've just inherited technology from their ancestors,
Right. Yeah.
Maybe they're all like slow reading level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. Bob Lazar makes that he made that comparison of like, if you dropped a bike off a motorcycle or whatever, they may be able to start it and get it running, but then like they haven't figured out how to like refine anything.
Yeah.
So like, how would you create gasoline to then put the gasoline in the bike to continue riding it? It's like just something that, and it always makes me think like, some of this technology, like if it was dropped here or left here, like there's a possibility that Earth or the Milky Way as a whole doesn't even have the elements to create whatever it is that these other things are even running off of, which is interesting.
I think the universe has been asymmetrically scattered with different resources. And I wonder if we even have some of the, like the metals that were found at Roswell, like the lightweight capacities, the isotopic ratios.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we don't even possess some of these metals.
Yeah, dude.
So maybe we don't even have the resources on our planet to create an Alcubierre warp drive without receiving and trading technology,
Or maybe
you may have to open up a trade route. Like if you were to meet another civilization, open up that trade route. If you decide that you don't want to try and blow it up first, like have you? I mean, you've heard about like the implants and stuff that are in people. Some of these implants, dude, that have been taken out of people, and then like they've done tests on them. Some of the metals that are in these implants aren't even from the Milky Way.
Wow.
And that's one of the biggest things is like, people are like, oh, you must have fell off your bike when you were a kid and got a piece of gravel stuck in you. Or like, maybe you hit yourself on like something rusty when you're a child. And they're like, okay, I'll give you that. You're right. Maybe that is a possibility. But what about this metal that doesn't even fucking exist in our galaxy? Can you explain that? And they're like, well, that's an anomaly. Okay, go do some science on that anomaly, please, and go figure that shit out. Don't just call it an anomaly and walk away like it's no big deal.
How do you do science on a piece of metal that was created with a sun with different kelvins, though?
How do you do science on a piece?
Like how do you understand something that's beyond your capability to sense it?
Well, you can use like acids or like liquids and stuff and read gases.
But the molecules weren't born in a pool that was created by the same sun Kelvin like ratio. I guess I'm trying to say words that I'm not smart enough to know the words.
They're able to do. They're able to look at the spectrum of light and be able to decipher through the different spectrums of light that they see in telescopes. They're able to tell which elements are in those foreign stars, or
so they could like see, okay, this is not from here, but we can't make it because literally we can't make fusion hot enough with our set rules of physics.
The isotopic ratios, are you asking with this spectroscopy?
This is where my smartness stops.
You're fine. So what they're able to do is use a machine, I believe it's called spectroscopy, and they're able to look down. So like, let's say a metal like magnesium, for example, that they found magnesium on one of the wreckage, maybe the one in Brazil. And they were able to look at it through the spectroscopy, and they're able to see like, okay, the ratio of electrons to neutrons to protons is way off from any metal we see. This is clearly, it's either engineered or it's not from our solar system.
Down to the nucleus level.
Yeah, they're able to look at the nucleus. Yeah.
Whoa, that's cool. That's really cool. So like, it shouldn't exist in our reality, like
no,
naturally.
So one of my favorite guys, actually, super smart, Eric Davis, the astrophysicist. If you can ever get him on your show, he's the consultant he was the consultant to ATIP.
Eric Davis,
Eric
Davis.
We're working.
Eric Davis.
We got his number. I text him every morning at 7:30 a.m.
You ever heard of the Wilson document?
Yes, I have it. Yeah, I mean, I have a copy.
I've got to download too. I want to print it off and put it on my back.
Yeah,
dude, there is the lore surrounding not just that guy, but like, there's a group of them. The lore surrounding those people is absolutely fucking crazy. Like, it's wild. It's so wild. Like, I mean, you've heard of like have you ever heard of like the Theoretical Physics Working Group or the Aviary? Some of these dudes are in like what they call the Invisible College and stuff like that. There's like a group of people.
Now the Galileo project.
And now the Galileo project. There's all these strange projects that always pop up. And throughout history, they haven't exactly been the most helpful and or truthful. And like, all these dudes' names are connected to all of these little groups. And, I mean, it's that's where like this shit gets like really, really crazy, right? Because those are all people that you want to talk to. You're like, I want to talk to that guy, right? But when they're specifically employed by the military and or the government and or private sectors that, have been used to basically filter information and hide it from, FOIA requests and things like that, those dudes are on lock and key. And while they are able to say some pretty interesting things, you're like, damn, is this a disinformation thing, or are you being for real?
I know. Eisenhower warned about the military-industrial complex, and I think there's a lot of human nature that is getting in the way of blocking a lot of this information. But what do you mean specifically by the lore? Like, what do you want to discuss?
I guess we're talking about the lore. Like, I mean, you go from Project Grudge, Project Signs, Project Blue Book. We start moving into like OSAP, ATIP, BASS, like all these programs that have existed, right? And some of them were private companies that existed where the government would acquire information and then they would hand it off to these private companies. That way nobody could have access to it through Freedom of Information Act requests and things like that. And some of these people are directly involved with a lot of these companies keeping things under wraps. Now, you go a little bit deeper, things get a little darker. There's a little bit of like murder involved, and like there's some just crazy shit. Like we're talking like, hey, you shouldn't be asking those questions. Excuse me, I have one more question. Bang, bang, you're dead type stuff,
In the 70s.
just psychologically fucking people up for getting too close and things like that. Now, I'm not specifically naming anybody in general. I'm not saying like Eric Davis is this fucking boogeyman, I'm not saying that, but I am saying his name is on a fucking list of people that I could say, you're the boogeyman, Now,
Yes, you're the boogeyman.
I didn't know this.
Yes. Yeah. We'll have to send you some stuff, dude, because
Yeah,
that shit
please.
goes so deep, dude. Like, have you heard of like My Labs?
My Labs.
MILBS.
It's an acronym.
It stands for military abductions. And so this group, have been known to
theoretical
follow
working group.
Yeah, have been known to follow abductees. Somehow they know when things happen to these abductees. They show up sometimes. So here's the thing, right? That you get abducted, you get taken away, you come back, then the military will abduct you, and they want to know, did you fly the ship? Did they talk to you? Did they show you anything? We want to know, just everything. Like, were you able to work components? Did they let you hold anything? Like, they want to know a whole bunch of shit. And the thing with My Labs is that we believe that they are actually working with not a specific race, but with the ETs in general. They work hand in hand with each other. And the reason they do that is because the ETs, the idea is that they're just like us, right? Some are dickheads and some are really awesome. Well, the dickheads are working with the dickheads. So what they do is these ETs have technology, and they'll take abductees and test them with certain pieces of technology to see if like a human being can do this stuff, right? Because for some reason, abductees end up acquiring not only just radiation burns, but they also end up coming down with savant syndrome. They end up becoming like super psychic, or like they have
MRIs show their basal ganglia is enlarged.
Exactly.
Oh,
caudate putamen, the basal ganglia area. They light up.
Did we already shout out Melinda Leslie for her amazing hard work on all of that stuff that we know? Like,
not yet.
Okay.
Melinda Leslie is the lady you want to talk to if we're going down the My Labs thing, because she's put in over 30 years of My Labs research. She's actually been part of that group, not part of it, but she's been taken. And dude, it's just a really weird thing. There's even been like hybrid experiments that have been done. A lot of abductees say, yeah, I've been taken a few times, and for some reason, some of the encounters I have are not as good, and they feel like maybe the ET experiences that they have, while they're not like the most amazing thing ever, it freaks them out. They're like, okay, I was a little bit at peace with it, and it bothered me because it was very new. I didn't know what was going on, but it wasn't like a crazy traumatic thing. And then they will also get taken again, and they would say, man, this was an extremely traumatic experience. I feel like I saw men in military uniforms in the room with these ETs. I would say things to them because I'm trying to get their attention to help me, and they just walk past me, or they're holding like a little note card, or they may ask a question and then just leave. So they're working hand in hand, actually taking people, abducting people. They want information. So then we look at groups that are set up, things like, to the Stars Academy, or like all these different little groups, right? And what are they interested in? Well, at face value, they're interested in the technology. We want to know what's flying around in the airspace, but under the sheets, they're actually contacting abductees, and they're asking them a million questions about their experiences because they want to know how the human element interacts with the ET element and or the technology that they're using. And certain people can use it and certain people cannot. And it seems to be people who have this affected area in the brain, or a higher sense of psychic abilities. You know, it's really, really crazy. And so those are the types of groups that we're talking about that are abducting, you know, American citizens, kidnapping, let me say that, kidnapping citizens. And, you know, a lot of it is done with drugs. They knock them out. They can't remember. Sometimes they fuck up and people do remember certain little pieces of it. We have a good buddy named Terry Lovelace. He actually, you know, was in the Air Force when he had his encounter, and the military drugged him and his buddy. His buddy ended up committing suicide. He lost his wife. He lost his kids, his house. He lost everything, became homeless. Terry, you know, and they were giving them pills, feeding them pills. And Terry actually got around it because he would hold them in his mouth and like throw them away. But you know, that some of that, and he had direct contact with you know, like military officers and things like that. They came into his room. They wanted to know exactly what he saw. Terry didn't know what he saw. He barely even remembered, but for some reason they knew exactly where he was and exactly what he saw without him even talking to them. They knew what was going on before he even told them, you know. And he went directly to the hospital after his encounter. And before he even got to the hospital, the military was at his house, tearing up his house, looking for shit, right? His wife didn't even know what had happened yet. You know, they just showed up and were like, we need to look through everything, and tore his house apart looking for photos and stuff like that. And yeah, it's crazy, dude. Yeah.
I know. I believe it. There are black parts of the government that are completely off. I just read Jesse Marcel Jr.'s book, Roswell Legacy. And while he was in DC for a UFO conference, he got sort of accosted / invited to a meeting with a high-level Pentagon official. And it was that guy's job to investigate the black parts of the U.S. government. So there are parts of the U.S. government that are operating without any oversight of, you know, our tax dollars, of you know, just, all right, this person needs to be detained. The military industrial complex is scary.
Very scary, dude.
Hey, before we move on to a different subject, we were talking, I want to show one image and a movie. Maybe you've seen it already, Nami, but we were talking about the interaction between these experiencers and their relationship to ET craft, and how certain people have a proclivity, or I don't know if it's DNA or what, we don't know yet.
Right. Yeah.
But they can control these craft, and we want to know about it. We, as in the Earth. I don't know. It could be U.S. It could be other people. It could be the UN. Who knows? But there's a movie called Flight of the Navigator that's like very, very specific. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely see it. I mean, it is like it's spot on. A lot of the people that we've talked to that have had experiences with my labs say that the exact same, like, this movie was, someone had to have talked to the producer or the writer of the script, because their experience happened before this movie and whatever. So I just think I thought it was worth putting out there. But
yeah, it's really crazy because, you know, that lady we were talking about, Melinda Leslie, she did a lot of the MyLabs research. she's part of the hybrid program. You know, she's got space babies. I mean,
and it makes sense that if extraterrestrials have the technology, if they're coming here, you know, why are they so interested in us? There have been different theories that they're monitoring us. That I've heard that other theory where it's like, oh, they actually were a catalyst in our evolution, you know, genetically engineering primates to create Homo sapiens. I've heard these. I can't validate them empirically, but I mean, it makes sense if then, you know.
Yeah, we do it.
Why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't they? Yeah. Dude, she has this crazy story where she was pregnant, and I believe that it was up to like, I think she said it was like 2 months or something like that. And she didn't realize that she was pregnant. It wasn't sexually active or anything. Just she was pregnant, right? Goes to the doctor. The doctor says, hey, you're pregnant. And she's like, what? He's like, yeah, you're pregnant. Right. And then a few days go by and she's like, man, my you know, like my lower stomach was hurting really bad. And so, you know, I went back to the doctor. And the doctor had said, you know, it looks like it could have been like the fetus was removed, but the operation that would do that, you know, it takes a long time for the body to heal. And it looks like whatever happened to you happened a long time ago because it's already healed up. And she was like, no. Like I was literally here a couple days ago and you said I was pregnant. And he was like, yeah, I know. That's why this is really strange. So she ends up investigating it. They get an investigator on the case to, you know, try and figure some of this stuff out. They go back to the hospital where she had the doctor's visit, gave them the doctor's name. The doctor never worked at that hospital. They couldn't find him. No longer worked there, you know?
That's freaky.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's pretty wild, dude. You should watch the documentary, The Seeding.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. We've had a few of those ladies on the show actually, and I mean their stories are incredible, man. Yeah. You know, like one of them's a lesbian. She was like, I don't even have sex with guys.
Yeah.
And like my partner left me because I showed up pregnant. Then she left, and then I wasn't pregnant a week later. And it seems like they give them like a 3-month gestation period, and then they come and they'll take the fetus. And some of the ideas behind that, right, is that with their DNA and where they live, it can't develop properly on Earth because of, you know, just our gravity and everything that we go through. But inside the mother, you know, there's not as much gravity. It gives it time to grow. And once it reaches that prime age, then they'll come and they'll take it up to the ship. And when they take it up to the ship, these mothers end up being abducted later on in life. And they say that the ETs tell them that the babies are fine. They're very well taken care of. We take care of all of them. What they need is love. And for some reason, the ETs can't generate those emotions or those feelings. But because they're hybrid with humans, and one of the biggest elements to human development is that closeness with the mother and the love that they give, you know, it's just part of our human nature. Like for some reason we seem to need that. So these mothers are abducted throughout the life cycle of the children being developed. And, you know, she almost makes me cry every time she tells a story, because she's like, I was taken, I saw a tall being and it came around the corner and it had this child with it. And the child looked human. The eyes were a little bit bigger. The hair was a little different. They were a little thinner, but I knew it was my child. I knew it was my child, and there was nothing that I could do about it. And she was like, that maternal instinct, when you see your child, you know that that's your baby. She's like, I had that feeling, and I was so scared, and I was so sad, and like my emotions were just running wild. She was like, I felt like I abandoned my child, but I didn't have a choice. You know, I wasn't given the option, you know. And they're just like, how many people have to make up a story? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, how many people are just making this shit up? This is happening to lots and lots and lots of people, you know. Some people go crazy, you know.
We need an alien Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably not a bad idea, actually.
The ET Planned Parenthood, dude. I mean, it's wild, man. Like some of this stuff, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, how far is too far?
They're not using protection. That's a problem. We're going to be getting extraterrestrial STDs, man.
STDs?
Bro.
We got enough problems.
Yeah, right? Dude.
So what would an extraterrestrial STD look like?
It'd be great.
Like
a dwarf star on your dick.
Why is your dick so shiny? Bro, look,
That's pretty tight
I
because door
went-
stars are really big in real life.
Yeah, I went to Vegas, and you know what happens in Vegas?
Yeah.
Now my dick shines. I don't know. Yeah. So I mean, not to downplay. I just like that put me in a mood of like, fuck. Like I feel so bad for the people that go through that stuff, man. Like it's such a bummer, dude. Because that's happening. Whether you believe it or not, dude. There's thousands of people saying this exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's got to be traumatic.
Well, it speaks to the topic as a whole, right? You know, most people get into this and they think, okay, yeah, Ben's neon sign. They took some dumb farmer and then they put him back. They put something in his butt, right? And that's hilarious and it's a big joke, right? But then you get into the stories. Yeah. And then you get into this darker side of the whole topic and you're like, holy fuck, is our own government doing this to people alongside with certain ETs? Are they really doing this to people? Like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
dude. Oh shit. He does have good hair, dude.
Dogface Boy says John Nami has great hair. As a bald man, I'm kind of jealous. We love Dogface Boy around here. Oh my gosh.
Well, thank God for this hair because it's all I've got left.
Does your girlfriend still cut your hair, dude?
No, not anymore. She refuses to cut my hair now. ETSD. All right, I'm glad you guys are enjoying that.
My wife won't cut my hair either. She refuses to do it. I'm like, babe, just give me a trim. She was like, not going to be responsible for that.
Joe had this joke where he was like, my girlfriend cuts my hair because I'm not giving money to big hair businesses anymore. I don't believe in big hair corporations.
That's funny.
I love that.
Yeah,
it's big hair. You know, like Big Pharma. I get it.
Big hair.
I love it. Dude, so like, Joe, Nami, sorry, it's Joe.
I don't care.
Dude, like, I don't want you to like have to tell like a joke about aliens, but like, when was the first time you did, and like, how did it go over? Or is that a theme that you bring into your like?
I got a couple jokes that I'm like workshopping. One is so you guys know about the sighting in Rua, Zimbabwe, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right.
Like school children.
All these school kids. There's like, I don't know, 60, 65 private school kids, black, white. You know, they all see this craft land, and then a being comes out, and the Harvard psychologist Jonathan Mack comes, and like, I think we should believe these kids. I mean, these are private school kids. You know, these are not like they're public school kids. You know, they had a good education. And we can trust them to validate this stuff. This is not like where I went to school.
Yes.
That's not where I thought you were going to go with that. That's awesome.
I got a couple other.
These are private school.
Yeah, these are well-educated kids. Their parents are paying, $30,000 a year for their kids to be able to empirically validate ETs. You know.
Oh god, bro, that's really good actually.
And then what was the other one? The other one was like, this one's kind of dark, but it's like, Lonnie Zamora, police officer. We got to believe him. He's a police. Why would he make that up? Police officers don't lie about ETs. They only lie when they shoot innocent people.
Oh shit, that's really good.
Shots fired. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Oh my god, dude.
Bro, okay, next UFO conference we get invited to.
I should do like 20 minutes on UFOs.
You have to come, dude. Like, those are jokes that like they would hit. They would hit okay. They're so niche. Yeah. But they would hit really, really hard at like people who are a little bit more informed. Dude, that's really good.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's a crowd that would get it, right?
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, dude, you got to come to a conference with us sometime and just hang out.
I would love to. Yeah, totally. Do you got Which ones do you guys go to?
Well, dude, so we've been to 2 and then COVID hit and there was no more. But
And
now
it
they're
was-
starting to like do more live conferences again. So Ben and I are going to pick one out here pretty soon.
Yeah.
We'll probably be going. I know that we're going to be in Vegas.
Yeah, that's kind of a
next month.
conference. Yeah, for Spaced Out Radio, April 22nd through the 24th, we're going to be in Vegas at the Spaced Out Radio. It began as a party, but now it's almost like an event, dude. Like George Nappa's going to be there, bro.
And it's free.
Jim Goodall's going to be there, bro.
Oh, man, the legend, Jim Goodall.
Freaking. So, dude, I mean, I don't know what your schedule's looking like, but it would be awesome to maybe, dude.
Clear my schedule for George
Bro,
Knapp.
let's do it. Let's go.
I want
Hell
George
yeah.
Knapp to adopt
You'll
me.
just be a part of the UFO Garage crew. We'll just hang out. You'll be on the stage with us, and we'll just not say anything to anyone. No
But, yeah.
context.
Yeah, because I don't know if you know this, man, but we pretty much do whatever we want.
We're nobodies, man. We just, we just show up to places.
We show up and they'd be like, "Who's this guy?" And we'd be like,
I don't know.
This is Joe. He's an OG. He's been with us since the beginning. You guys never seen him?" And like, "No, you guys have been to a few conferences now. He's never been here with you." He's like, "No, he's always just hanging out at the gift shop table." he's got an insane amount of like crystals and like weird T-shirts now.
Dude, if you do come to a conference, you're gonna walk away with a large necklace. I'm just telling you. I know it sounds weird, but you will.
Oh, I need street cred.
Dude, you're gonna get all kinds of readings and like, yeah, it's wild. It's crazy.
You're gonna know who your Overwatchers, your
star family.
Yeah, thank you. Your star family. Mine's a large white mantis.
Nice. Hell
And
yeah.
an elf.
And there was like a few. She was like, "You got a bunch of shit going on." I'm like, "Yep, that makes sense."
That was your Earth family. The elves were your Earth family.
Yeah.
And the mantid was your guardian. That white mantid that follows
right.
you everywhere
Right.
is a guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
and then she was like, "Hey, you are a dwarf and a lion." And I was like, "Are you just looking at us and the way we look, you're describing aliens?" Because I mean, I guess I look like an alien, and Ben is skinny as fuck, and he didn't have like a beard or anything at the time. I was like, yeah, he kind of pull off a bug, I guess, like a skinny mantis. That makes sense.
Yeah. The
But,
aliens definitely want Ben's genes.
Yeah, right.
They're
Yeah.
them.
I'm pretty. I
Oh,
like
you know
bugs.
what? The other day I was thinking about, like, I wonder what they do, instead of capitalism in alien civilizations.
That's
Yeah.
a good question. That's a good question.
We've talked about that quite a bit on the show, Joe.
Oh, hell yeah.
That fool Joe has some I mean, if half of your ideas came true, shit would be awesome. I
It'll
mean,
be
like,
crazy, right?
remember the barter system you were telling me about, and like the economical,
So what you do on the the more you help out on the ship or wherever it is that you're at is like your currency. So like, if you just mop the floors and like you're not very smart, like you obviously can't like do the high end shit, right? But like if you're the captain, you're in charge of everybody, you get to do like the high end shit. But then at the same time, if you have like replicators and things at that point in time, like really it's probably just events that you would have to worry about going to, because you could literally go to like the replicator and be like, "Hey, make me a steak." Boop. And it makes you a steak. So it really wouldn't matter. Would money matter if everybody had their own little replicator or creation, little box device in their house? Like, status, social status, and all that shit really wouldn't matter. I guess you would eventually, you would at first probably have to purchase this thing, right? But then once the technology has been around for 100 years, it would kind of be like, oh, well, everybody has a phone now, right? There's a couple of people that don't, but they live on weird islands that like aren't visited by humans anymore. It's kind of one of those situations. So I think in the future,
knowing multiple things, like I can solder, I can blow glass, I can I don't know, I can fix your driveway. Like the more shit you know how to do well is like
I like
the economy.
picturing ETs paving their driveways.
Yes, dude.
They're like, hey, somebody's got to do it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
just
plowing
like real blue collar ETs. You know?
But
Yeah.
then that's
They're
the first.
complaining about their governments.
Yeah,
They're gonna shut down all the Element 115 plants.
Yeah.
You believe
not
that?
on my watch.
Not on my watch. Hell
Not
no.
on my watch.
Hell no.
Because the rest of the half of my day is actually making watches.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you can't shut down all the Element 115 plants if you don't have a sustainable plan in place right now. It's not very effective. You know, economy's gonna go to shit.
I've only got so much left.
That's where the replicator becomes important, right? Because the replicator is kind of just like the IRS. They just make shit and hand it out, right? They're like the same thing.
They have
This
an
doesn't
IRS.
exist.
Dude,
I wonder
Nami,
what
so
crimes are. You know,
Crimes would
Oh.
be interesting, right?
yeah,
what's their whole system of ethics? Like,
yeah. Because crime is I'm like trying to fucking
If for some reason, everybody is in the future, or these ETs are able to communicate telepathically, or they can read your mind, you know, would there be the high crime rate or the negative thoughts, right? Because you would, you know, you know, here, you know, you're standing there, you see that that sexy lady walk by, and you don't say nothing. You put your sunglasses up, right? But the shit that goes through your head, right, would you know, your mom would make you go to church.
That's exactly the reason why I don't think that's ever going to happen, because the guys in suits drinking gold for dinner are like, I don't want my secretary knowing, you know, I don't want my wife knowing anyways and things, and then like, well, they can't read my mind and shit. And I'm like, hey.
So if you guys are kind of you know, interacting in a hive mind, right? You really couldn't you know, you couldn't have like premeditated murder or premeditated acts of violence or crime, because everybody would already know about it before it happened. You know,
that's a great point.
Yeah,
wow, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, if you're a fuckhead, everybody knows it already. You know, they might just cut that shit out at the very beginning. They're like, yep, no, this guy, he's gonna be problems.
Okay, Nami, I've got a question for you, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, given our material science as we know it, do you think we will ever crack the code of interstellar travel at a feasible rate? Meaning, like, we can travel to Mars in maybe 8 hours. Do you think it's possible with the technology that we have? Do you think there's things that we aren't utilizing? Or do you think that physics exists and we're just not being told about it?
I think, I know right now it takes like, I think 8 months to get to Mars or longer.
Yeah.
But no, not with the technology. With the technology we have right now, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know what Elon Musk is thinking. Like they've been making. I could have sworn I read a paper they were making like micro Alcubierre engines. I read this somewhere. It's possible they've been able to 0 point and negative energy. They've been able to create it. Hold on, my computer. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear you. I can see you.
I shut down. Oh, you can see me too?
Oh,
yeah, we can see you.
Oh shit! Oh, I'll just keep talking.
Hey, put your pants back on.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think right now, I think rockets, jet fuel, all this stuff, we're going about it the wrong way. I don't think that this is going to make for like the longevity of our space travel. I think this is an outdated system. I think it will be surpassed because it's just so slow. I think to get to the nearest star from here, I think it'll take something like 5 million years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
It'll take forever.
it takes so long, dude. I'm taking
That
shits.
kind of time. Yeah.
I always think about I can't really think of a good a good example, but I'll use this shitty one, right? So in the landscaping industry, right? If you were to just start out, right? You're a guy with a lawnmower, you have maybe like a weed eater, and you go and you mow 5 yards a week, right? Say Elon Musk, right? He's building rockets. He launches a few rockets a year, right? But in the background, I'm not just mowing these yards per week, right? I'm collecting and I'm saving equipment for riding lawnmowers and for battery operated shit that can, be automated. And that means that I can do more work faster at a quicker rate and I can get more people going. So it's one of those, like, in the background, he's like, is he making rockets just to show people, hey, look at what we're doing to get people interested, increase funding? But in the background, he's like, oh, but we're working on this other shit though. Like, this is just to show you that we are a viable company. We are able to create things. We are able to go to space. That it creates trust and it creates, that sense of like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. So that way later on in the next 20, 30 years, he can drop something huge and be like, hey, yeah, those tiny micro engines, they work. Yeah. So, that's a big possibility. Like I'm one of those people that I believe that some of the shit that we're seeing in the sky, maybe some of these Tic Tac things could possibly be ours, the Ben Rich, the Lockheed Martin guy, the quote that Jim Goodall always says, Lockheed Martin, right? Ben Rich, he said, not only do I have the technology to take ET home, but I have the contract. He said that out loud to a group of people at a conference. Not only do I have the technology to take ET home, I have the contract.
Wow.
I mean,
there's a lot. Wow. I think we definitely have reverse engineered some of this stuff. Does our stuff function as good as their stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's hard to fathom.
I think their technology to like switch dimensions, like I'm here and then boop, I'm back wherever the hell I came from, billions of miles away. Like that's some crazy technology. Do I think maybe we have like hit the cusp of being able to maybe send something 9,000 miles an hour? I think maybe we did. I think maybe we figured it out,
I would love to believe it.
Yeah. I mean, like all the physics behind that, just the idea that when technology reaches the public, it's already 20 to 60 to 70 years old by the time it even reaches the public. We've got some pretty impressive things that do pretty impressive stuff. If you multiply that by 60 years, if they're ahead 60 years of whatever it is that they're doing, especially if they've retrieved certain crashes and like craft with the technology in it, like that's one of the coolest things that like Bob Lazar says. He's like, yeah, they pull it out every 15 years, wait till the material science catches up, and then we implement it and see what we can like reverse engineer and figure out from that. And then once we get so far, we box it up, we put it back, and we don't look at it, we don't touch it, we don't do anything. We wait for material science to expand and grow. And then 20 years later, we pull it back out and see what we can apply to the craft to see if it makes sense with what we're creating. And it gives us a direction on like where maybe our engineering needs to go to accomplish this goal. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's pretty wild. The interfacing with consciousness, right?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely going to be the future of consciousness. We're going to find a way to integrate quantum computing with our consciousness and these 8 different brain lobes.
Yes. Yeah. What's the story where they talk about like, you sit in the chair interfaces with you, and you basically think of a point in space that you would like to go, and the ship takes you there, right? Like the idea, like when we're talking about like biomechanics and stuff, and the ship, the craft being part biological, like in nature, is very interesting.
I know. I've wondered that if some of these Tic Tac crafts are in fact the ETs themselves. Right?
Yes.
That
or
interesting. Yeah.
or animals that are living in the upper atmosphere that we just don't realize are animals. We haven't classified that energy as an animal, and maybe they are attracted to thunderstorms or highly electromagnetic areas on, maybe it's like a kite or like a bird. When they hit that updraft, they power up and they can float up, and that's the most efficient way for them to fly. Well, maybe these creatures or these animals that live high up in the atmosphere, maybe they start to lose that electro charge, and then they float down to these ley lines that we were talking about. They charge up and whoop, they zoom back up into the atmosphere and go back to where they live. It's interesting thought.
We've barely touched all of the ocean. It's like most of us, it's like our prostate. There's a lot
so neglected.
Yeah,
you got to go to a guy for that.
Yeah, you got to go to a guy, turn your head and cough.
Yeah, I don't know if there's many females that like aspire to be prostate examiners.
Why not?
I'm sure it's part of the job.
I mean, if the pay's right.
I guess you're right. There's a lot of prostates that should be removed.
Yeah. Are we talking about apostates?
Do you think there's more women that wanted to join the field to check prostates than there are men who joined the field to do gynecological exams? I'd love to see the numbers on that.
Yeah, I'd love to see the numbers. I don't, it's weird, man. I don't buy it when a guy's like, yeah, I'm going to become a gynecologist. Like, really? That's completely unbiased?
Yeah.
Right? There's no subconscious, like,
hey,
why not work in the cancer ward? I don't know. Could be. Somebody's got to fix the pussies, though.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't think I could ever do that, man. Because I love vaginas. You know what I'm saying? But I know that there's gonna be some vaginas that are gonna turn me gay.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope. Okay, I'm over vaginas, I guess.
You ever Google blue waffle?
Of anything, you'll find one you don't like.
Right. Yeah.
I mean.
I dated a girl in high school, and she had her ex-boyfriend's father was her gynecologist.
Oh, that's
creepy.
Whoa. Yeah, it was weird.
Huh.
Without saying too much. That was weird.
Like, hey, son, I got in your girlfriend's pussy more than you have.
Well, was she still seeing this gynecologist while you guys were dating?
No, but it was while they were dating. It was weird, man. I was like,
weird.
This is okay. So what did he say about it? It was like, okay, I don't want to say too much.
I like the idea that he had to examine it before his son was allowed to date.
Bro. That's probably not a bad idea. No, it's a terrible idea.
He's like letting out pH balance for his son. He's like, son, I just don't see this in our future.
Dude, can you imagine the scenario where like you go to the doctor and you have your exam and then you end up hooking up with this guy. And he's like, I'd love to take you home to meet my parents. And she's like, oh my God, this is getting really serious. This is exactly what I've been looking for. I'm so in love right now. He takes you home to meet his parents. Turns out that dad is your gynecologist. Like, is that weird? Is that awkward at that point? Do you all discuss that at the dinner table over dinner? Like, oh, I actually know your dad. Yeah, he's my gynecologist.
Depends on the health of your part,
Yeah, right.
Really, if everyone at the table can brag about your pH balance and your positive microbes or whatever.
Bro.
I don't know.
I mean, what are bacteria and microbes if they're not alien, alien species? I guess they're not extraterrestrial, but they're not
Interterrestrial.
They're inner. Love
They're
that, dude.
Inter-alien.
Interterrestrials. I mean, what's the percentage? Was like it's something super low. It's like 3% of all the cells in our body, are actually human cells, and the rest, the 70%, the rest of it is bacteria.
Wow.
It's like something huge. It's like a huge difference. Like we're mostly a bunch of other shit that think that they're the center of the universe, right? They go about their day just shitting and eating.
Yeah, humans. If you look at the way humans have colonized the earth, sometimes it does appear as though we are the bacteria.
Yeah.
I love that scene in The Matrix where they're like, it's the smell.
Yeah.
You're like a virus.
Yeah.
I felt like that sounded exactly like him, right?
Yeah, that was great, man. You should be doing retroactive voice work or something.
Yeah. I only have one accent.
Yeah.
It's two. It's either the one I normally have or like everything's Australian. Everything else is Australian over there.
Do you guys remember the Australian schoolyard UFO sighting?
Yeah.
That was in the most recent documentary about. Oh my gosh, Joe, help me out. It was a great documentary. Shit.
Experiencer, the Eric Mitchell story.
Was it? That's a great. It's not out yet. That one's not out yet. That's going to be a great documentary. The one that just came out that was like pretty revolutionary.
Dude, there's like 8 different.
Sorry.
It might have been the phenomenon.
Phenomenon?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yes. Phenomenon. I just want to give the director a shout out. Just want to talk about it.
I think it's James Fox.
James Fox.
Thank you. Oh my God.
You should have just asked us, dude. Instead of spending all that time Googling shit.
I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, James Fox, he talks about that in The Phenomenon with the Australian school, and I always mix those up with the Zimbabwe story.
Yeah, it's easy to. The details, I mean, the accents give it away, but aside from that, because they're like South African kids.
Yeah.
But the Australian one, I don't know if they saw the beings. I think they like ran over to the ship, right?
They saw the craft land.
Yeah. Or maybe they saw the beings and they were on top of the ship.
Yeah, they always confuse me because they're like the exactly same story almost.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting.
That is interesting.
Another thing about contact that is really, really interesting is the depiction of the beings that people see. They're all looking at the same thing, yet they all have different visions of what it looks like. Like they're kind of consistent, but they're a little bit different, like on what they saw, which is pretty interesting on how they can interact with you and your mind, the way your mind works, and like these screen memories that they can supposedly put into your head. Ben has a friend who has a great story about these 3 little kids that she went to school with, came to her door one night. Turns out they were probably ETs, and they screen memoried her into thinking that these were kids from school. The whole, like, you saw deer, you saw owls, you saw certain things, right? You have missing time. You don't remember what happened, but you remember this owl. Like, they're screen memorying you into seeing what they want you to see, something that you're probably more comfortable with, as opposed to seeing them directly. Terry Lovelace had the monkeys. His cousin saw clowns. Certain things show up in these kids' rooms, and like Eric has that story where the little kid said, there's a bunny that comes into my room every night. And so they said, can you draw the image of this bunny? And the kid draws a gray alien. And
Oh,
he's like, that's what the bunny looks like. And he's like, can you point to the ears? And the kid points to the ears, but there are no ears. The kid draws a gray and is visualizing it as a rabbit, like as a bunny.
wow.
Yeah.
Dude. I've had this idea for a while that how the telepathy works is so the different lobes of our brain is like there's our brains are like electrical sponges. Like most of the time, the resting state of our electrical charge in our brain is like negative 77 millivolts. And then if something brings you up, it spikes it. And it's like, so it's like chemical and electrical. So I've been wondering if they have some type of like the telepathy interacts through like some type of electromagnetic charge or moving the electrons around, because different lobes of the brain, whether it's like the amygdala or the hypothalamus or the prefrontal cortex, like do different things. So it's not unfathomable that they could be using technology to initiate telepathy with us, especially if they've mapped our brains through all these abductions.
I think, sir, you are onto something, and you should continue down that rabbit hole.
Yes, you should. You should also be a part of our documentary to talk more about that.
Yeah. Interesting that you would bring that up because one of the things that they talk about is the brain and the way it operates. Every time it fires a synapse, the electrical current is operating on a blue light wave frequency. A lot of people, when they see these craft, for some reason, it's emitting this blue light around it. And they think that it's possible that it's actually interacting with your brain. They're not communicating telepathically. They're actually sending electrical signals to you through this light. And that's how you're interpreting what they're saying or what they're trying to communicate to you, thoughts, images, words, all kinds of stuff. They're actually interacting with the firing synapses in your brain on the same frequency and the light wave spectrum. So that's it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Well, think about a ship that is using the magnetic field.
Right.
And the manipulation of electrons. We know that, right?
Right.
We don't know how, but those are the key elements. And those are the key elements that also precipitate the conditions of our chemical electric brain that we have. So can we not deduce that into a thought that sometimes physical things that we witness are just in our they're projecting something into our head? Like if the ship looked like a tortilla chip to one person and looked like a flying saucer, metallic saucer to someone else, that to me, we always like internalize. It's all about me. It's all about me. It's all internalization. What if it's not? What if it's specific to your chemistry?
Right. Oh, that's
so
interesting.
Maybe it is a little bit about you. Yeah. It's not about your your upbringing or your nature versus nurture. It's literally like what is pushing the electrons, as we were talking about,
Right.
and a frequency that is just slightly off. That instead of a tortilla chip, it's a flying saucer. It's just how we perceive it, and the true form. Like, that's the joke on all TV movies, and, like, so many people have made that reference. It's like, we can't show you our true form because you would freak out. No, maybe it's just you can't perceive it. Like, we're literally not wired to see the actual form. Like,
it's kind of how we can only see, like, a microscopic fraction of all light waves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, the light spectrum is very limited. RGB. We know that there's other colors.
Yeah.
People that have died and come back to life, like past or beyond life experiencers, like they claim to have walked into this realm of pure beauty and bliss and like happiness and love, and see like these most beautiful colors they can't describe. They're like colors you've never seen before.
There's definitely way more crayons than we know of.
Yeah, man.
Than we give credit for.
Dude,
Like-
Crayola is gonna need a new box, man, for sure.
I don't know about y'all, but I was never the kid that had like the 24 set. I always was the 12 set guy, you know?
Yeah, my mom knew I was gonna lose them.
Yeah, there was always one kid with the 24 set with the sharpener, you know? And I was so jealous. God damn it, with my dull ass. I had brown and gray, and I had lost all the other mac and cheese. That's the only macaroni and cheese.
I have the Indian color and the mac and cheese color in silver. What am I gonna do with this? Dude. Holy shit, it's already 10:30?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
This is the winding down period for the show tonight, dude. Yeah, man. So that went by fast.
Yeah,
Too fast.
That
was
went
a
by
lot.
way too.
Yeah, you guys taught me. That's the thing, is we all are trying to exchange information and just get a little bit closer to the truth out there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
That's what it needs to be, you know, it's just like the exchange of information, you know, like it's cool. Like, you know, you said, look, I've been doing comedy for like 5-6 years, but you know, you also dipped your toe into theoretical physics, you know, like the furthest Ben and I got into any kind of physics was high school, right? It's like, that's it.
I got a physical exam.
Which is weird because like I failed every math class, but I passed every physics class, right? Because math was boring, but physics was like, how does that shit work? I want to know.
Yeah, I actually did really good in physics and chemistry too.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
I didn't pay much attention in high school physics, and then afterwards I went out and learned it on my own. When you get motivated, when they tell you why it matters,
Yeah,
you know, curiosity sparks.
Yep.
Dude,
Yep.
that's
It's not
so-
like high school where it's like, look, I got to teach you this shit so I can get a paycheck. All right.
Yeah,
Sit
that's so
down.
true.
Shut up. Let me tell
You
you
have
about
to get
Isaac Newton.
State requirements so that the state doesn't think that, you know, we're abandoning you and mistreating you.
Yes.
That's so true. Dude.
The amount of times that like I raised my hand and asked a question that my physics teacher was like, fuck, dude, I don't know, is like unbelievable. Like I've gotten more answers through doing this badass podcast than I ever did in a school trying to ask questions to somebody, you know?
Yeah. And then you connect the dots with all the science to all the stuff that's going on with the UFOs and ETs, and you know, it like everything connects, and you get a better understanding of it because it fits into your whole paradigm, you know.
Yes, dude.
Just being like loose knowledge in your pocket.
Right.
What am I supposed to do with the speed of light? What the hell am I supposed to do with the speed of light? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, the only thing I can literally apply it to is UFOs.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
The only thing that motivates me to learn anymore.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
I think the best thing, man, is that you're curious and you are constantly trying to get at some answer, right? Like I think we're all trying to get at some answer. We're all curious and we love this stuff and we're having fun with it, dude. And I love that you're taking both sides. We're like, there's some real shit that you have learned and read some really awesome books and know some shit about and can speak to some theories and aspects and are able to have that balance in check. But like the fact that you're still on the search that's some hope for me. Like if a lot of physics, people that are professional physicists, they're like, oh yeah, I already know the answer to everything. But it's refreshing because you're like, no, dude, I'm still trying to figure it out. Seems like.
I heard something great recently, and sometimes I tell this to people too when I'm arguing or debating with people that aren't on board with UFOs. But it's like, if there's nothing that can, if there's no evidence that can change your mind, you don't have an opinion, you have a bias. And
Ooh.
a lot of people have these preconceived bias and notions. It's confirmation bias. They already know how, and then you tune into the news station that you want to watch that fits your worldview. But I think that something that's common amongst a lot of us in the UFO community are keeping an open mind and just following the evidence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
Seeing
I think
what happens.
that's a frame of mind I think we can all we should all maybe think about adopting that.
Well, hopefully, dude. Hopefully, we've given you a little more ammunition to combat the naysayers a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's funny because you really should be able to just open up the Wilson document and be like, Eric Davis, Edgar Mitchell, the astronaut. They had a fucking meeting about a crashed UFO. Yeah, that's a government document, by the way. Here you go. If you have any questions, give me a call. And some people are still like, bullshit.
Well, I looked into that too, and it's interesting, but because on my search into logic and rhetoric and all this stuff, I came upon some information that suggested that Daniel Kahneman has this they did this meta study, and it kind of showed that we as humans, we're not really as rational as we'd like to think we are. And it's not necessarily because we're just poisoned with emotion, but we have a bunch of cognitive distortions, biases, fallacies. It's just part of the imperfections in our, the sort of evolutionary progress of our brain. We have a hard time calculating abstract, cerebral things, truths. So going down that rabbit hole, there was a study done, and it was about how facts don't change people's minds. And that sucks.
Yeah, dude.
Doesn't it, dude? Oh my God.
Sucks, dude.
Yeah, but it's because from an evolutionary perspective, if you give me a fact, now I have to adjust my whole paradigm. I might be ostracized from my social tribe. I might have to adjust my identity. It's way too cognitively expensive to uproot someone like that. So before doing that, it's like you have to create kind of a safe, like a tribe where people can be accepted. It's like why it's so hard for people to leave the Mormon church, because it's social suicide.
Right.
I know that's random, but that popped in my head. There's a bunch of weird reasons that how you pull people over. And I don't think we're going to get the people that are like at the opposite end of our spectrum, but the people that are in the middle, like when I was like right before I got into UFOs, my mind was in the middle. I was at like, a 5, right? On a 10. And I was ready, I was ready to be open-minded to that,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, it's always nice to just be like, hey, I told you all this stuff. By all means, I'm not trying to change your mind. I just want you to think about it,
So where do you stand now? Or like, when you come across somebody that's kind of a naysayer, I guess in the green room in your profession, are you like? I feel like you're pretty chill about it. What most people kind of maybe would be defensive or like, no one understands me. I feel like you've got a pretty good grasp on it.
Yeah, I try to use the Socratic method to try to see if I try to convince you of something, it's not going to work. The strongest time that someone has sort of a paradigm shift is when they come to a conclusion on their own. It's kind of like if you can get them, if you can ask them to explain their paradigm, and like, all right, so what is all this highly anomalous data that these pilots are seeing? What's this, and get them to really explain these things. And when they come across the inconsistencies, they'll realize that there's holes in their story. There's holes in their narrative. You know what I mean? And that's where you can start to plant the seeds. But I think people have to come to the conclusions on their own and assimilate the evidence. But you can lead a horse to water, but you can't. Yeah.
It's so it's so sneaky, dude.
It's
it is
human nature. It's rhetoric. Yeah.
It's a real thing. It is real. Like the most powerful, like you've seen the movie Inception, right? Like you can't, it's very difficult to just plant an idea in somebody's head.
Yeah.
You can't just tell somebody to do something. Like you have to make it them think that it was their idea, right?
Exactly. Especially if it's something that they categorize as part of their identity. You know what I mean? You can't convince a liberal to be conservative and vice versa if their identity is surrounded around that, unless
I
don't know
why we all suck.
Yeah.
Politics fucking suck, dude. I get two choices, really?
Yeah.
My team, your team.
Yeah, we get.
I'm the football guy.
You go to Baskin Robbins, you get 24 flavors of ice cream.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro.
I tell people, I was kind of progressive, and then I moved to New York City, and people here are like on another scale. You know? They made me want to become more like independent and kind of centrist. But I tell people I'm politically non-binary now. I don't want to be part of anything.
I'm neither male or female. I'm politically non-binary.
Yeah.
I am literally just don't ask me about politics. No, I just want to know, what you're.
Yeah.
Look, you're offending me now. Like, I'm politically, just leave me alone.
I think the government should deliver your mail and shut the fuck up and stay out of your life. That's what I think the government should do.
Just let us do what we want, man.
And then all of a sudden,
I'm
a racist because I think the government should just deliver mail.
Yeah. Seriously, yeah. Somebody would say that. Yeah.
Racist?
God damn it! I'm trying to say, just do whatever the fuck you want to, man. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Joe and I, we're getting at the towards the end of our chat tonight, bro. I wanna know, man. Like, I always like to ask something like something positive that you've either learned or maybe something you're thinking about moving forward. What's something positive that you have hope for coming up?
Within the UFO paradigm?
Yeah, anything. It could be about comedy. It could be about Hanes underwear. It could be about anything.
Positive. All right.
Because I have dips and dives when I'm like, hey, UFOs are real, and then back to like, oh my god, everything's a simulation.
Right.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of
it can be
positive and
overwhelming. It can be really overwhelming.
Yeah.
The thing that's kind of kept me sane over the last few years, especially in comedy, because you get on stage and you put your personality, you put your self-expression, your creativity out there, and humor is subjective, and sometimes you get put in front of a crowd that doesn't have the same subjective humor. It can be really psychologically humiliating. But something that's been really positive for me has been reading and learning about Stoicism and Buddhism, and just finding equanimity and acceptance, and just kind of surrendering, understanding. For me, the most sane force has been just accepting things and understanding kind of the randomness and the chaos of life, and I find a tremendous peace in like when I came up, when I was like growing up, there was all these books and things. It's like you were the author of your destiny and you were the universe and this and that, and but I think that I kind of like fought against life a lot, and I find a serenity now in sort of like letting the larger forces of the universe kind of be. And what is it? There's a really good.
That's beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Dude.
I think it's something like not just not like if you I'm having too many ideas.
I love it. I that happens to me a lot.
Dude,
We're like, dude, it's like a moment.
Yeah.
But
it's like
I love it.
Just surrendering to things you can't control. That surrender is a big part, a little bit.
And not looking at surrender necessarily as like a defeatist thing, because I think we have social connotations with surrender, but
correct.
A lot of it with just, this is what it is. We're microscopic creatures, and
right.
But we're also massive creatures.
Yes.
It's
why swim against the river when you could float down it?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Exactly.
I like the swims.
Hell yeah.
The swims.
Dude, Joe, let everybody know where they can find you, your YouTube video, stuff like that, man. I want people to be able to come over and hang out and watch all your videos and stuff, and be able to see you while you're out on the road and things like that, man. So let everybody know.
Yeah, absolutely. There's my YouTube page, Joe Nami Comedy. I'm on all social media at Grow Up Joe. That's what I heard most of my life in adolescence. People just telling me, "Grow up, Joe," and so this is my channel. But I also run a podcast, and I try to be thoughtful and humorous about it. But yeah, that's my YouTube page, and I would love to build a community and talk with all of you out there.
Dude, heck yeah, man. The next time that you're in Austin, let us know, man. We'll come hang out with you if you're ever doing a show and stuff. And hey, keep Vegas next month in mind. April 22nd through the 24th. Keep that in mind. It is a free event, so really you just gotta pay to come out there. But you could just walk in and come hang out with us, dude.
Yeah,
you get that backstage privilege, man.
Yeah. I'm literally serious about it. Just let us know, dude.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, Vegas next month. Let me look into it. I think maybe
don't answer now. Now there's like a lot of pressure because you're live. So
we're gonna be at the Golden Nugget.
Say yes now.
Oh,
yes,
that's great.
Yeah,
they got a shark in the pool.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that big ass
inside.
Wait, hold on.
And then you can swim around it.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Yeah,
dude. It's pretty badass. Well, hell yeah, dude. thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. You're always welcome on the show, man, to come and hang out with us anytime you want. We're definitely going to be coming and checking you out more. Like I said, man, like this past week I've been getting into all your videos, dude. You've been cracking me up, dude. You're hilarious. I love it. This has been great, dude. Thanks for coming on with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me and teaching me things and sharing your community and everything with me.
Yes, dude.
It's nice.
Dude, yeah. Ditto, man. Dude, I'm so glad we got to meet you, man. I think we had
staying in touch with you guys.
Absolutely, brother. Hell yeah, man. Yeah. All right, man. Well, hey, take it easy, dude. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Later,
all right,
dude.
Guys.
Peace.
Bye. Peace. Joe Nami.
Yeah, dude, that was fun.
Dude.
I knew it was going to be a fun time.
I knew it.
I like when we meet people and it's like we kind of just click, It's like we're supposed to be together.
We're supposed to be together. Supposed to be. Dude, yeah, man, like our show is a lot of what do you call it? You think up some stuff that you think might be right. But there's other people that actually know science and math. And it's good to like have a legit conversation with the guy, super chill, not a lot of ego about him.
Right.
Not a lot of like, you say dude way too much, Yeah, okay, we do. But thanks for at least he was able to hold a conversation with us and teach us some shit. I feel like we understood each other.
It's nice having guests like that because we get like a little bit smarter.
Yeah.
And then we go tell our dumber friends all that smart shit that we learned. And then we're the smartest guys in the group. Take that. Remember, we used to hang out in the corner, would laugh at us.
Yeah.
Now we're fucking smart, dude.
Remember, dude?
And you're dumb.
You're dumb now.
Just because you make over $100,000 doesn't mean you're smart, all right? Well, it means that you're a cog in the system, man. You work for the man, all right?
Yeah, man. It'd be dope if we made $100,000 a year.
I wouldn't mind having $100,000. We got to figure out how to be dumb and make $100,000. That's the key, right?
Well, here's the thing. How do you define dumb? Because I define dumb as
exactly.
We're just not a lot to it. There's not a lot to it. But there's so many people out there that work at the lady that works at Jack in the Box is so socially intelligent. Like this lady, she knows when I'm at the window. There's no camera. She knows by the tone of my voice. She knows when I'm having a bad day. She's like, "What's up, baby? How you doing?" Like, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed to hear today. And then I hear the person behind me and she's like, "Yeah, what do you want?" She didn't even hear my voice first. She's just tuned into this shit. So, there's multiple levels of intelligence going on there.
You go to the Jack in the Box way too much.
I do. The crispy chicken sandwich is off the fucking chain.
What can you do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Anyway, that got way too deep on social intelligence for some reason, and man, all of us deserve $100,000 a year just for being cool. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, right.
If I was in charge,
you were so cool this year. Here's $100,000.
Yeah, but do we have to wait till the end of the year? Could we know ahead of time so we could buy some shit?
No, they don't let you know. It's kind of like it'd be like knowing that Santa Claus is coming in December and your kid's being a little shit, but then December hits and then they're like a fucking angel for 24 days.
Yeah,
out of the year. It'd be like that. So you got to be cool all year, and then they let you know. Right. They send you a letter in the mail saying, "Hey, don't worry about filing your taxes this year. Instead, I just want to give you $100,000." And then you return it because you'd be like, "Is that from the taxpayers? How dare you? Taxation is theft.
Yeah,
you son of a bitch.
Don't give me that. I don't want dirty money."
Just how about you just give me more money from the IRS themselves? Because that's all my money anyways. I've been putting it into the system for years.
Okay, I'm literally doing my taxes right now. I did this all that it did today. I hope my boss isn't watching this right now. But like, I did my taxes for fucking 2.5 hours. It wasn't all day, and it sucks, dude. Why can't they just tell us what we owe? Just say, hey, this is what we know that you owe. Just send a fucking bill.
They're like, here's an estimate of what we think you might owe.
I would send more than that estimate.
Oh, but I guarantee you, they know exactly how much is left over if you don't pay them. They know it down to the fucking penny. It's like, why couldn't you just tell me that at the beginning? Yeah. We wouldn't be in this situation. I would have to do all this crappy paperwork now, you know? So, yeah.
I'm trying to think of an analogy. Like, there's nothing to it. That's just the most absurd fucking scenario I've ever heard of. There's no analogy to it. Honest, I can't.
There isn't.
There probably is. I just can't think. I'm done.
No, there isn't. There's nothing.
I'm sorry, dude. Nibbler shit right there, and I'm like just breathing in poop fumes right now. It is so stinky.
All right, dude.
This is like the second Thursday in a row that she's just like cropped. There's poop right there, and it smells so bad, dude.
Well, Gizmo, he's taking a nap, and he smells delicious. Right here.
I put diapers on her, but she's still a good boy. It's still in the diaper and it smells and it's wafting in it's on my tongue.
Oh God. All right, dude. Well, yeah, we can go on ahead and end this thing, man. What a great episode, man. I had such a good time. We gotta stay in contact with that guy, right?
Yeah. Dude, Joe, Nami, freaking awesome. Love it.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we'll see him in Vegas. That's a war party. Boop,
dude,
boop.
That'd be dope.
Beep, beep.
That'd be dope.
Boop, boop.
Hey guys, real quick, before we get out of here, go check out UFO Garage podcast.com. You can see all kinds of cool stuff. You can see our beautiful faces. You can see all the wonderful graphics that Ben has made. You can even scroll down a little bit. Check it out. Big Willie in the house with Cinnamon Terry sitting next to him. You can go down to our little shop. And if you want to buy a t-shirt, a hat, some koozies, whatever it is that you want to buy, go ahead and pick it up, man, because 20% of that, we take it at the end of the quarter and we donate it to somebody who needs a little bit of help or somebody we think is doing a really badass job. So that's what we do, man. We take 20% of all of our sales, all of our super chats, and we donate it. This quarter, we're going with Anomaly Archives. They're a local archive here in Austin, Texas, and they've got some amazing things. Let me just tell you, books from the 1600s. What the hell? They got all the Project Blue Book cases, everything from Bigfoot to psychic anomaly, everything, dude. Anything that you can fit under the category of anomaly, they have it. So we're trying to help those guys out. We're trying to find them a new home. COVID kind of ruined everything, and then the rent is going up here in Austin, Texas. It's just ridiculous. So we're trying to help these guys out. We're trying to find them a new home. So go check it out, man. Go get a hat. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be awesome. That's it from me, Ben. You got anything else, man?
No, man. It just smells really bad in here. Yeah, that was great. Sorry.
Thank you, Ben.
Sorry. I broke character for a second. I should just be very professional. Yes, well, Joe. Thank you very much.
Well, play the music so we can get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
You just playing around over there.
Thank you, guys. Love y'all.
Hey.
This was another episode of UFO
Garage. Hey, man, we'll see y'all on Tuesday. We'll talk to you later. See ya. Goodbye. It's just me now. UFO Garage.